Chapter 346. All the white light floated out of the sealed space like fish and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. In the end, only a soft ball of light was left. There was a girl inside the ball of light. She looked like an elf under the moon. She had golden hair, pointy ears and silver feet. Her eyes were bright. Could this be Ming Ri Hao's sister, Ming Yu Guang? Yu Yang couldn't help but stare blankly. In terms of appearance, the difference between this Ming Yu Guang and her brother Ming Ri Hao was like heaven and earth. One was a slender and gentle female elf, while the other was a 10 meters tall giant. What Yu Yang was curious about was, if these two were really siblings, what kind of parents would be able to give birth to two completely different children? Ming Yu Guang, who was still inside the ball of light, slowly opened her eyes and looked at Yu Yang. Then, she performed an innate special etiquette. In terms of body size, she couldn't be Ming Ri Hao's sister. But in terms of strength, she who had just been released from the seal, and was still extremely weak, was probably above Ming Ri Hao. Even though Yu Yang was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but feel a little regretful when he saw Ming Yu Guang. If he knew that Ming Yu Guang was still so strong even after being sealed for 6,000 years, he wouldn't have released her so easily just for the prison Emperor Divine Sword. Of course, even if Yu Yang didn't pull out the sword, with Ming Yu Guang's strength, it wouldn't take long for her to break free from the seal. Although I have been in deep sleep, I still received the message that my brother sent me. He mentioned the agreement with you. Regarding the reconciliation with the human rancors, that is my wish. Originally, I did not have any enmity with the humans. Everything was just a misunderstanding. Thank you for releasing me. I hope that we can be friends forever. Ming Yu Guang didn't say anything, she only nodded her head slightly. However, everyone present seemed to have heard her voice. A strange message appeared in their minds. This kind of message was similar to the prison emperor's just now. In fact, it was even more accurate and clear. What will you do next? Yu Yang asked. Leave the prison Emperor Divine Palace and return to Heaven Realm. Today, I am extremely weak and can't help you in any way. If you manage to ascend to the beautiful Heaven Realm in the future, you can come and find me. I'm from the Sun Moon sect. It's very easy to find me in the Heaven Realm. Ming Yu Guang's thought wave was not only transmitted to Yu Yang, everyone could hear it clearly, including the old dragon turtle. You have killed General Nan and many Imperial guards. You have even attacked the prison emperor. If you want to leave, you have to go through me first. The old dragon turtle was furious. I'm very sorry for my previous mistake. Ming Yu Guang bowed slightly to the old dragon turtle. Then, she shook her head lightly and waved her lily-white hands. I don't want to fight with you. The war between the Sun Moon sect and the humans is a mistake. I won't allow this mistake to happen again. Yuanlong, even if I don't say it, I'm sure you know that you're no match for me. Even if you were at your peak, you still wouldn't be able to hurt me now. 6,000 years had passed and I had been imprisoned in the prison Emperor Divine Palace for thousands of years. I had always been thinking about one question. Who was the one who set up this trap to sow discord and make us kill each other? Yuanlong, you also know that the real mastermind is someone else. In this kind of situation, don't tell me you still want to perish together with me and let the real mastermind continue to get away with it? The old dragon turtle suddenly realized that it was true. He had too many enemies and Ming Yu Guang was too strong. Now that he had not recovered from his injuries, he couldn't do anything to her. Most importantly, the person the old dragon turtle wanted to kill the most was the prison Emperor Divine General. Before he killed the traitor, the old dragon turtle couldn't die easily. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace. He had worked so hard to enter the prison Emperor Divine Palace and reach this step. As long as he could obtain the prison Emperor Divine Staff, he would be able to kill the traitor prison Emperor Divine General. The old dragon turtle really didn't want to miss this opportunity. To kill Ming Yu Guang, forget about the fact that he didn't have the ability to do so, Even if he had the ability, he would kill the traitor prison Emperor Divine General first. That traitor had lived for 6,000 years and had never been punished by anyone. The old dragon turtle couldn't tolerate the traitor getting away with it anymore. After weighing the pros and cons, the old dragon turtle decided to let go of Mingyu Guang, who had a smaller grudge against him, and think of a way to kill the prison Emperor Divine General first. Towards his enemy who had been sleeping for 6,000 years, the old dragon turtle felt pained that he couldn't stop her from leaving. He slowly walked out of the sealed space, unwilling to see his enemy leave safely in front of him. Outside the sealed space, Ming Rihao, whose entire body was dim and his chest and back were covered with huge wounds, walked in with Sha Fei, who was also covered in wounds, and the 3 Heaven Realm warriors. He brushed past the old dragon turtle. The two of them acted as if they didn't see each other. They didn't say a word and continued to walk forward. When Ming Rihao, Sha Fei and the 3 Heaven Realm warriors saw Mingyu Guang, other than excitement, there was also respect on their faces. They all knelt down and paid their respects to Mingyu Guang. Immediately after, Ming Rihao took out a ball of light that was filled with energy and gave it to Mingyu Guang. We have lost this battle. Fortunately, we are still alive. As long as we are alive, there is hope. Mingyu Guang pointed at the ball of light and quickly absorbed it. At the same time, she turned her lily-like hands and a few rays of light that were as soft as moonlight floated out and enveloped Ming Rihao and Sha Fei's bodies. The few people who were severely injured instantly recovered. I was unable to stop Feng Xinshe, and you were also unable to release the seal on time. We are unable to fulfill our previous promise. Before we leave, please allow me to give you a piece of advice as your ally. Ming Rihao raised his head and looked at Yu Yang. The 2 great leaders are about to awaken. In at most an hour, they will be able to come out from the deep coffin room in the 3rd palace hall. If you are unable to stop them from awakening, then leave as soon as possible. Their power is not something that you and I can resist. In another 100 years, you might be able to become the new prison emperor and become the strongest among the humans. But now, can you guys leave this place? Yu Yang was a little curious. Under the prison emperor's sealing will, could they leave? He can't, but as the sealing goddess, I should be able to hide from the prison emperor's will. Mingyu Guang bowed slightly towards Yu Yang and the other girls. She summoned a shining grimoire. It was gorgeous and magnificent. Yu Yang's eyes twitched when he saw it, because he realized that it was actually a holy grimoire. Among all the summoning grimoires, there were only 100 holy grimoires. This Mingyu Guang actually had one. Although her holy grimoire could not be compared to the holy grimoire in Queen Vivian Li's hands, but the fact that Mingyu Guang had a holy grimoire, even Yu Yang, who knew her true identity from the monster Guyan Gu, was still shocked. Possessing a platinum grimoire and a diamond grimoire was already considered an amazing person. But she had a holy grimoire. Did this mean that she was one of the 100 strongest people in the world? Mingyu Guang used a very special and beautiful bright moon domain to envelop Ming Rihao, Sha Fei and the others and kept them into her grimoire world. After that, she waved her hand towards Yu Yang, as if she was preparing to leave. Suddenly she stopped. She turned her head and smiled. She opened her mouth and asked Yu Yang with her heavenly voice, "Did you already know that I am one of the 3 great leaders of the Western Heaven Realm? Are you one of the 3 great leaders of the Heaven Realm?" Yu Yang already knew that the monster man and Gu, who had betrayed them at the last minute, had told them all the secrets he knew. It was because of this information that Yu Yang and the girls decided to cooperate with Ming Rihao to pull out the prison Emperor Divine Sword and release Mingyu Guang at the same time. Although your expression is very exaggerated, my instincts tell me that you already knew my identity. Mingyu Guang's eyes seemed to be a little curious. Can you tell me, why did you pull out the prison Emperor Divine Sword to unseal me? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you once I come out? Don't doubt me, I have the ability to do so. Although I am very weak, it is still very easy for me to kill a human rancor who is below innate level 10. If I don't pull out the prison Emperor Divine Sword, how many days would it take for you to free yourself? Yu Yang asked back. At least 3 days. Ming Yu Guang estimated. If you can free yourself, then why is Ming Ri Hao so anxious to cooperate with me? Yu Yang asked again. Because he doesn't want me to wake up slower than the other two. You know, sometimes time is life. Ming Yu Guang replied. After we unsealed you, why didn't you take the chance to attack us? You said just now that you have the ability to kill us easily, why didn't you do that? Yu Yang asked casually, as if he wasn't asking about his own life and death, but what they were going to eat tonight. You are younger than the prison emperor, and even scarier. Please forgive me, but I think the word scarier is more suitable to describe you. Ming Yu Guang turned around and her shadow gradually disappeared into the bright moon domain. However, her last reply turned into a thought wave and was transmitted into Yu Yang's mind. Actually, I had thought of killing you. However, when I opened my eyes, I immediately changed my mind. Because I will not do something so senseless. Killing a descendant of the Dongfang celestial tribe, who can continuously revive in nirvana flame, is not a smart move. It is also not something that I, who has the moon pupils, true sight, would do. Goodbye, young man who has the protection of an immortal beast. When you have the power of a prison emperor, I don't mind sharing the Western Heaven realm with you. This girl has such a big appetite. Yu Yang sighed inwardly. Ming Yu Guang's meaning seemed like she wanted to cooperate with him to kill the other 2 Heaven Realm great leaders. There's still an hour left, can we make it in time? Xue Wuxia frowned. I dare to bet that you guys won't even be able to enter the 3rd Palace Hall within an hour, let alone interfere with the revival ceremony. In order to fight for time, we have sacrificed a large number of our comrades. If you guys don't come in, we can continue to sleep and leave the prison Emperor Divine Palace after 100 years without any losses. What's worse is that you guys dared to cooperate with Ming Ri Hao and release a terrifying enemy that you guys would never have thought of. That is Ming Yu Guang, one of the 3 great leaders who has been sealed by the prison Emperor Divine Sword and did not escape back to the Heaven Realm. You detestable fellows have completely ruined the 5,000-year plan that we had originally formulated. Now, I am very angry, so I have no choice but to teach you a little lesson. If you have a next life, remember this, never provoke me. In the sealed space passage there was a transparent giant. His voice was like the howling of a gale and his roar was like thunder. Once he opened his mouth, a gust of wind swept towards Yu Yang and Xue Wuxia. Feng Shenshi? Yu Yang asked uncertainly. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Go and die, hateful human. The transparent giant disappeared with the wind and disappeared without a trace. At the entrance of the passage, the old dragon turtle was sent flying by a huge force. He flew backwards like a cannonball. When Yu Yang caught him, the old dragon turtle, who was originally calm and collected, showed a panic-stricken expression. He pointed at the 2nd Palace Hall outside the passage and swallowed his saliva with trembling lips. Everyone, be careful. There are 2 demonic beasts outside. These demonic beasts should have been brought down from the Heaven Realm. They have just been awakened and are extremely hungry. Do not be careless. When Yu Yang heard this, he was slightly startled. Demonic beasts. Chapter 347. Demonic beasts did not exist in the soaring dragon continent. They were extremely strong monsters that only existed in the higher levels of Tong Tian Tower. Normal demonic beasts lived in the lands of the Eastern Goblin tribe and were ordered around by them. Demonic beasts with intelligence would evolve into some low-level Eastern Goblin tribe members. For example, the Plum Leopard and Xiong brothers that Yu Yang fought previously were both demonic beasts. Of course, not every demonic beast had the chance to evolve into an Eastern Goblin tribe member. It could only be achieved with a special opportunity. The difficulty was no less than a normal demonic beast evolving into a gold king beast. After receiving the knowledge from the pitiful guy's mother, Yu Yang knew a secret. The kind of demonic beasts that even innate rankers feared were not normal demonic beasts. They came from a higher level, such as the demonic beasts from the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower or Heaven Realm. Goblin beasts from the Heaven Realm only existed in legends. According to the records of the inherited knowledge, they might never have the intelligence of a human. However, goblin beasts from the Heaven Realm all had huge bodies and extremely strong bodies. They were not something that normal goblin beasts or demon beasts could compare to. It was said that almost any goblin beast from the Heaven Realm could kill a lower-leveled innate ranker. Heaven Realm demonic beasts were the nightmares of innate rankers. Fortunately, they lived in the higher levels of Tong Tian Tower, and were not a threat to humans. Hearing the old dragon turtle mention demonic beasts, Yu Yang immediately realized that the Heaven Realm demonic beasts were released by Feng Shinshi to obstruct him. "Everyone don't move, I'll go out and take a look." Yu Yang took out his Hui Jin magic blade, and flew out of the sealed space at high speed. At the end of the passage was the second hall. When Yu Yang came out, he was dumbfounded to see that there were 200-meter-long giant centipedes madly surrounding and killing Enigua's subordinate. Other than Enigua, who was an innate level 6 and 2 innate level 5 Heaven Realm rankers, who could barely protect themselves, the other dozen or so people could not escape successfully. All of them became targets of the centipede. The demonic beasts that they summoned to fight could only be killed instantly in front of the two giant centipede. No matter what it was, as long as it became bigger, it would be very scary. Ants were so weak that even if they turned into giant fire ants, it would still be a nightmare for mercenaries. Ordinary centipedes were nothing, and ordinary people could trample them to death. But when it came to the centipede-type magical beasts, they were extremely terrifying. The strongest centipede-type magical beast should be the red-headed tyrant centipede. It was the overlord of the centipedes, and its body was 30 meters long. Its carapace was as hard as iron, and it was impervious to swords and blades. Its 100 feet were like spears, and it had a venomous jaws. The overlord centipede could hunt and kill flaming lions, battle kodos, mammoths, and other powerful magical beasts. There was no such creature in the soaring dragon continent. At the very least, one would need to be at the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower to see its activity. An adult tyrant centipede, along with the reaper mantis, the devil spider, the war god scorpion, and the sky demon poison bee, were known as the 5 kings of the insect tribe. Among them, it and the reaper mantis were the strongest contenders for the title of the 5 great kings. If the reaper mantis didn't know how to fly, it might even be able to suppress it. A mere 30 meters long tyrant centipede could already run amok in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Now, 100 meters long Heaven Realm centipede that was 3 times longer and 5 times larger than the tyrant centipede, how terrifying would it be? Yu Yang realized that his star explosion was actually unable to see through the opponent's true strength. Although he was sure that they weren't as strong as Huang Sha or Ming Ri Wu, but compared to humanoid creatures, the body of this Heaven Realm centipede was much stronger. Not only were these 2 Heaven Realm centipedes huge in size, they were also extremely fast and nimble beyond belief. In the main hall, there was a Lingong. It had just been summoned, so it didn't have the time to attack yet. Among them, there was a Heaven Realm centipede that actually shot its entire body into the sky. It raised its head high, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It bit the top of the Lingong's head, and its poisonous jaws deeply pierced into its enemy's skull. Its sharp, poisonous legs pierced into the body of the Lingong that was more than 30 meters long and was a gold-ranked level 8. The Lingong couldn't even struggle and directly fell to the ground. In less than 10 seconds, the Lingong that was originally able to kill everything in its path didn't even have the chance to struggle. With just a few weak movements of its tail, it died. As for the Heaven Realm centipede, It didn't even care about its enemies looking around and started eating the Lingong. The entire process was extremely bloody and cruel. Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai followed behind. When they saw this terrifying killing process, their faces turned pale. Seeing the 100-meter-long Heaven Realm centipede eating the Lin Gong not far away from them, that kind of terror was unimaginable to ordinary people. Outside of the two Heaven Realm centipedes, with the exit of the sealed space as the center, there was a huge whirlpool that surrounded the entire second hall. The wall of wind, that was even colder than a hurricane, prevented any living being from entering or leaving. All the living beings that stayed in the whirlpool became the prey of the Heaven Realm centipede. This was not only for Yu Yang, but also for Enai Gua and his subordinate. In order to prevent Yu Yang from leaving, Feng Shenshi placed a treasure in the second hall. Using the treasure, he summoned one of the most famous battle formations in the Heaven Realm, Howling Wind Formation. All living beings couldn't fly in the Howling Wind Formation. Even if they used their legs to walk, their speed would be greatly reduced. Yu Yang didn't even have the time to test the power of the Howling Wind Formation before Enigua and his subordinates met a tragic end. The Howling Wind Formation and two demonic beasts were definitely equivalent to a tragic death. At this moment, the hungry Heaven Realm centipedes were massacring inside the Howling Wind Formation. What are centipedes afraid of? Yu Yang felt that it would be useless to kill them head-on. He needed to find their weak points and then deal a fatal blow to them. Otherwise, even if the Heaven Realm centipedes didn't move at all and just stretched out their heads to let him chop them, it would probably take him half a day to kill one. Centipedes are afraid of chickens. Shui Wuxia gave the correct answer. Then, looks like we need to find a rooster that is at least a few 100 meters tall. Otherwise, we won't be able to eat the Heaven Realm centipedes. Yu Yang sweated profusely. He knew that chickens eat centipedes. The problem was, where could he find a chicken that could eat a 100 meters long centipede? Furthermore, this was a Heaven Realm centipede, a demonic beast. It was hard to say if it was afraid of chickens. Using chickens to deal with centipedes was definitely out of the question. What gave Yu Yang a headache was not the two Heaven Realm centipede. Even though they looked really hungry and their stomachs were rumbling with hunger, they couldn't threaten him. The real problem was how to leave the Howling Wind Formation. The two great leaders of the Heaven Realm would wake up within an hour. If they didn't interfere with the awakening ceremony, the consequences would be unthinkable. How could he go around the two Heaven Realm centipedes, pass through the wind wall of the Howling Wind Formation, and stop Feng Shenshi from awakening the two great leaders of the Heaven Realm? While Yu Yang was thinking, the Heaven Realm rankers who had rushed to the second hall were fighting with their lives on the line. They had already been reduced to food. Enai Gua and his two strongest companions were frightened to the point that their faces were filled with fear. They used their invisibility secret technique and hid in the corner of the second hall. Even though their companions were continuously being killed and screamed miserably, they didn't dare to help their companions who were being attacked. They were deeply afraid that they would implicate themselves. The remaining few Heaven Realm rankers were still bitterly holding on. Some of them merged with their beasts and transformed into giant monsters that were more than 20 meters tall. Of course, their giant bodies were nothing compared to the Heaven Realm centipede. In front of the 100 meters long centipedes, their giant bodies seemed very small. Even if the Heaven Realm centipedes lightly bumped into them, they would fall down unsteadily. No one dared to fight against these two terrifying demonic beasts. Some of them shot out light balls from afar to harass them, some of them summoned raging flames, intending to use the raging flames to protect themselves. There were also some who waved their giant weapons and attacked the demonic beasts from behind. However, this kind of action quickly proved that it was a futile struggle. Any kind of weapon that slashed the two Heaven Realm centipedes would only create sparks. Forget about breaking the Heaven Realm centipede's carapace that was stronger than steel, they couldn't even move their smaller limbs. The Heaven Realm centipedes could also ignore energy attacks such as fire and ice. When Yu Yang saw this, he secretly gasped in surprise. The defense of these two Heaven Realm centipedes was really too strong. Normal attacks were completely useless against them. Attacking them was equivalent to a normal mercenary attacking a Herculean rhinoceros beetle. The two Heaven Realm centipedes surrounded more than 10 Heaven Realm rankers, one above and one below. If those Heaven Realm rankers weren't in a hurry to escape, they wouldn't immediately attack them. However, if someone tried to pass through the wind wall and escape from the second hall, they would immediately use their extremely agile speed to catch up to them before they could escape. They would then kill them and bite them to death. Even the Heaven Realm rankers that were 20 meters tall who merged with their beasts wouldn't be able to last more than a minute before they were torn apart and eaten by the Heaven Realm centipedes. Other than Enigua and his two strongest companions, the other Heaven Realm rankers wouldn't be able to escape from their Howling Wind spell. The two Heaven Realm centipedes were very cunning. They would first kill the summoned beasts and swallow them into their stomach. This imperceptibly gave the Heaven Realm rankers some hope. They hoped that the two goblin beasts would let them go when they were full. However, from Yu Yang's point of view, forget about the people in front of them. Even if there were more Heaven Realm rankers and beasts, it wouldn't be enough for them to swallow. The two Heaven Realm centipedes in front of them might not have enough intelligence to come up with such a cunning plan. It was only their instinct. They were born to oppress their enemies and let them live longer. Then, they would continue to scare them and obtain more food. Furthermore, the prey that had already been scared out of their wits wouldn't be able to use 100% of their strength. I think we should take action before those fellows are completely eaten. Otherwise, it'll be too late. Princess Sisai tightened her grip on the Prison Emperor Divine Sword. Although she had already become an innate and possessed the Prison Emperor Divine Sword, she wasn't sure if the Prison Emperor Divine Sword would be able to kill these two Heaven Realm centipede. No, let's wait a little longer. Yu Yang knew that if they went out now and joined hands with the other Heaven Realm rankers, their overall fighting power would be greater. However, he didn't think that they would be able to kill these two Heaven Realm centipedes with just a few more Heaven Realm rankers. If these two Heaven Realm centipedes could be easily killed, then Feng Xin sure wouldn't have released them. Yu Yang considered this point and shook his head to reject Princess Sisai's suggestion. He then said to her solemnly, "You guys stay here and don't leave. I alone will stop the revival ceremony." Princess Sisai immediately objected, "Absolutely not. You can't leave us behind. Furthermore, you can't fight against Feng Xin alone." She knew that Yu Yang had good intentions. He didn't want everyone to take the risk. According to her 6 records, inherent skill, she had a bad feeling. She felt that Yu Yang would be in danger this time, but she couldn't clearly sense what the danger was. Could they really stop the revival ceremony of the two great leaders of Heaven Realm? Was it too late? Princess Sisai's heart was in a mess and she wasn't sure. That was why she firmly disagreed with Yu Yang's decision to act alone. Even if the help they could give him was insignificant and negligible, it would still be better than having to work alone without any help. Xue Wuxiao was the opposite of Princess Sisai. Normally, she would oppose Yu Yang's opinion. However, at this critical moment, she supported him without any reason. She knew that Yu Yang definitely had his reasons for doing this. Even if he didn't say it, this was definitely the best way. If this wasn't the best choice, then he definitely wouldn't do it. That was why Xue Wuxiao supported him with all her might and persuaded everyone to support him. What he needed was everyone's support. She suddenly reached out and hugged Yu Yang. She said in a low voice, "I understand. We will wait for you here." Chapter 348. The Howling Wind spell was definitely the nemesis of all flying beasts. It was not a skill, but a special spell that could only be summoned with a special treasure. The walls of wind inside the whirlpool of the Howling Wind spell had an extremely strong ability to deprive flying beasts. Every time it increased in height, the suction from the walls of wind and the whirlpool would increase by one level. Inside the walls of wind, there were countless tornadoes that could cut and crush everything. Most importantly, it had some kind of mysterious binding force that could prevent teleportation, shape-shifting, and escaping. In short, once one fell into the howling wind spell, unless one was much stronger than the summoner or was immune to wind energy, it would be extremely difficult to escape. The only weakness was that this howling wind spell had a time limit. It would probably weaken and disappear in less than 2 hours. However, this was not good news for Yu Yang. Yu Yang, who was in a hurry to rush to the third hall's deep coffin room to stop the two great leaders from reviving, would definitely not wait for it to disappear. Wind energy? Yu Yang had previously comprehended the nature's heart. Furthermore, he had trained in the innate invisible sword qi, which was an innate skill. He had a different understanding of life energy and elemental energy. Especially since the big lowly had taught Yu Yang a lot, it was just that he rarely used his wind and earth powers. Instead, he mainly used his Yang fire ability and Yin ability's water ability. The current howling wind spell was the best challenge for Yu Yang. Even though Yu Yang wasn't particularly proficient in wind-type powers, he really wanted to understand the true mystery behind the howling wind spell. Hiss hiss hiss, the two heaven realm centipedes seemed to have discovered Yu Yang at the same time. Shui Wuxia's heart skipped a beat when she saw this. She noticed a detail that she had not noticed before. The heaven realm centipedes could not discover the sealed space. They only discovered Yu Yang's existence after he came out from the 7-star prison Emperor Pillar. Guo and his two companions who were hiding in the corner of the second hall also discovered this. They immediately rushed over and prepared to hide in the sealed space. The few remaining Heaven Realm warriors also turned around and rushed towards the 7-star Hell Emperor Pillar. A Heaven Realm centipede chased after Yu Yang with extreme agility. Its 100-meter-long body was as fast as lightning, and its more than 100 legs formed a unique formation. Its target was actually the strongest Guo. With a single leap, its speed increased by 10 times, and its poisonous jaws opened wide, crazily biting towards Guo, who had the wings of Mercury but was unable to fly. Marrow. Guo coldly snorted. His entire body suddenly melted like mercury, transforming into a liquid human. Poison jaws were completely ineffective against him in his mercury state. The Heaven Realm centipede opened its mouth and sucked, wanting to suck Guo into its stomach. However, at the same time, Guo's body turned into steel. Both of his legs turned into spikes that pierced deep into the ground, nailing his body to the ground. No matter how strong the suction force was, it was unable to move his body at all. After all, Guo was a level 6 innate. It would not be easy for the Heaven Realm centipede to kill him. Very quickly, the Heaven Realm centipede changed its target. It immediately chose its second target. This target was not the two innate level 5 companions beside Guo, but an injured innate level 2 innate. That person summoned a giant golden lizard. His body was about 30 meters long, and his golden scales were like a shield, protecting his entire body. His spine, head and limbs were all protected by spikes. Under its eye bags, it secreted terrifying poisonous blood and stinky poisonous acid, making people want to vomit. However, all these protective measures were unable to protect his life. The Heaven Realm centipede jumped up as fast as a meteor. Its huge jaws ruthlessly bit into the giant head of the giant golden lizard, injecting a large amount of poisonous liquid into it. The giant golden lizard cried out in pain. Other than struggling with all its might, it also shot out green and red poisonous blood and green acid from its eye bags onto the Heaven Realm centipede's body, hoping to chase away the enemy. The combination of the poisonous blood and green acid made a sizzling sound on the hard carapace, corroding a large part of it. However, this did not cause any fatal damage to the enemy. Instead, it angered the Heaven Realm centipede. Its countless legs stood up and pierced deeply into the giant golden lizard's body like a spear. The giant golden lizard's hard scales were like paper, easily piercing through. In the blink of an eye, the giant golden lizard fell to the ground. Before it died from the poison, the Heaven Realm centipede forcefully tore its body apart. While it was still alive, the Heaven Realm centipede opened its mouth and devoured it. The other Heaven Realm centipede that was chasing after Yu Yang met with a little difficulty. This was because it was originally confident that it could catch up to Yu Yang. However, it suddenly realized that this human's speed was extremely fast, far exceeding its estimation. The strangest thing was that this human had strangely disappeared into the wind wall, as if he was not affected by the howling wind spell at all. This made its estimation completely wrong. Enigua did not bother to look at Yu Yang, nor did he care about his companions. He had to save his own life first. The first thing he did was to escape into the sealed space. Even if Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai were watching him covetously, it was still better than facing the two Heaven Realm centipedes that would never be satisfied. Get out! Princess Sisai obviously knew that the opponent was an innate level 6 ranker. However, with the Prison Emperor Excalibur in her hand, she had enough confidence to resist the enemy. With just you, an innate level 1? Enigua said these words with disdain. He was still giving face to the Prison Emperor Excalibur. If he did not have the Prison Emperor Excalibur in his hand, he would not even look at Princess Sisai. Innate level 1? To him, he could kill them anytime he wanted. No matter if it was a human or any other creature, in front of an innate level 6 ranker like him, there would be no exception. There's still us, Shui Wuxia replied indifferently. She pulled Princess Sisai and advanced instead of retreating. Just as Enigua was about to rush forward and kill the two women on the spot, an aurora lit up the entire sealed passageway. Enigua spread his 4 wings and stretched out his tiger arms, forcefully blocking the ray of light. His protective chi exploded like a giant awl with a sharp head and a round tail. With the first point of contact on his palm, he blocked the ray of light and spread it out. When the ray of light arrived, Enigua realized that he had underestimated the power of this ray of light. On the surface, there was nothing special about this ray of light. However, after coming into contact with it, Enigua was shocked to realize that this ray of light was 10 times more condensed than a normal ray of light. Its power was much stronger than what he had imagined. A silver-winged birdman beast was instantly summoned by Enigua. It wielded a giant sword and stood in front of its master, Enigua. It used its body to block the terrifying attack of the ray of light. The ray of light quickly disappeared. Enigua secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily it did not last long, otherwise he would have suffered a huge loss. He looked at his palm. His palm that was protected by the power of an innate level 6 was actually severely burnt. His palm was burnt black. His skin had split open and his bones could almost be seen. This was still under the protection of the silver wing. If it was not for its protection, his hand would probably have been destroyed. Enigua looked up and looked at his own beast, Silver Wing. He was immediately shocked when he saw it. Right now, the Silver Wing's whole body was emitting smoke. Its wing feathers were bald and its whole body was burnt black. It looked like a turkey that had fallen into a bonfire and was burnt half to death before escaping. The black sword in its hand, that was originally a silver-ranked weapon, had already been completely destroyed. "I'll send you on your way." Princess Sisai had already gathered all her power. The image of the white tiger flashed above her head. The Prison Emperor Divine sword released a dazzling golden light. It was incomparably bright, as if it was the sun. One slash. Its power was earth-shattering, and Enigua hurriedly dodged this kind of sword slash that could easily cause fatal damage. The Prison Emperor Divine sword was a divine equipment. Even if the opponent was unable to use its full power, it was definitely not a joke. Without waiting for the sword chi to slash through empty air, Enigua had already dodged. A sword chi, with unimaginable speed, narrowly brushed past his shoulder, and slashed out a spatial scar on the entire sealed passageway. If this slash had hit Enigua's body, Enigua estimated that even if he could use the power of the marrow to heal himself, it would take a long time. During that period of time, the opponent would have enough time to dismember his body into millions of pieces. Although possessing the power of the marrow meant that he had half an immortal body. However, under the slash of a divine equipment, even if he had an immortal body, he would still die. Do you have any other moves? Enigua laughed coldly. With just this little bit of power, they wanted to kill him, an innate level 6 ranker? Wasn't this too whimsical? If he didn't have the Prison Emperor Divine Sword, this kind of attack would be useless. Actually, other than the human man who possessed the World Exterminating Wheel and the Nirvana Wheel, which made Enigua slightly afraid, he didn't care about the others. That abnormal human man had already left. Now there were only a few weak women and children left. What was the use of that? If he didn't have the Prison Emperor Divine Sword, he could totally kill them, including that old turtle who had a tough life. Storm waves. You summoned the storm waves and unleashed a torrent of water. Are you trying to make me laugh to death? Enigua felt that these human girls were crazy. Using water to attack him? He wasn't even sand, what use would that be? You talk too much. Xue Wuxia snorted coldly as she raised her hand. Slowly, she formed an ancient rune circle seal. An extreme cold energy exploded from her body. Behind her, the Ice Storm Giant and the Ice Serpent Demon General, who had been silent all this while, joined hands to activate an even greater cold current to assist Xue Wuxia's inability, which erupted towards Enigua in the ancient passage. Sensing that something was wrong, Enigua jumped up and instantly flew in front of Xue Wuxia. His fist was ready to swing out fiercely. He intended to kill Xue Wuxia with one punch. However, when his fist was just an inch away from Xue Wuxia, the extreme inability mercilessly sealed Enigua in ice, turning his entire body into an Iceman. This kind of extreme cold energy could even freeze Yu Yang, who had the Yang ability, let alone Enigua. Other than Nirvana Flame, there was no other heat in the world that could resist it. Xue Wuxia, who had been hiding her strength all along, finally made her move. She unleashed her true strength, and in an instant, she captured Enigua and sealed him in ice. If Enigua didn't look down on her, a human girl who was not even an innate, he wouldn't have been defeated so quickly and miserably. The extreme cold energy allowed Xue Wuxia to have the highest possibility of killing her enemy in an instant. She retreated a few steps and looked at the frozen Enigua quietly. The Serpent Demon General, who was like a tiger with wings in the frost, waved her dual blades, easily breaking through the ice and piercing through Enigua's chest. Behind him, Princess Sisai was still continuously activating her white tiger's chi. The Prison Emperor Divine Sword in her hand shone brilliantly. The divine sword slashed out a sword light that seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It seemed to be extremely fast, yet it seemed to be extremely slow at the same time. It flashed past Enigua's eyes that hadn't completely lost their sight. The Prison Emperor Divine Sword transmitted this beautiful meteor-like sword technique and this special scene into Enigua's mind for the last time. Enigua's last thought wasn't to admire the sword technique. Instead, he was shocked at the ability of the marrow in his body. The marrow that could ignore ice and fire could actually be sealed in ice. He had never been sealed in ice before. It wasn't that he couldn't be sealed in ice, but it was because he had never met with true cold energy. It was a pity that he knew the answer too late. At the entrance of the passage, his two innate level 5 companions were dumbstruck. They couldn't believe their own eyes at all. This was even more unbelievable than Feng Shen-Shi summoning 2 Heaven Realm centipedes to kill his own people. Enigua, the man who possessed the power of the marrow, the one who had an undying body like Huang Sha, was actually killed so easily? Furthermore, the one who killed him was a human girl who was not an innate. Chapter 349. If Shui Wuxia didn't have the ultimate ice power, or if Qian Qian didn't have the prison emperor Excalibur, it would have been impossible to kill Enigua so easily. Of course, the most important thing was that Enigua never thought that he would die in the hands of a non-innate human girl. His marrow ability that was impervious to ice and fire made him almost immortal. Enigua had never imagined that he would have such a tragic day. In the ice seal, he couldn't use his powerful abilities at all. He didn't even have the time to struggle before he was killed by the prison emperor Excalibur. The two innate level 5 companions were panicking. They were still in shock and didn't have the time to react. Suddenly, they felt a sense of danger. Looking up, they realized that not far away, there was a stone element Medusa drawing her bow and aiming at them. Beside the stone element Medusa, there was also the storm mermaid, thunder naga and ice serpent demon. They were also ready, eyeing the stone element Medusa covetously. Danger! These were definitely not normal beasts. If they succeeded in their surprise attack, they might end up like Enigua. The Reaper Mantis floated in the sky, ready to deal a fatal blow at any time. However, in the eyes of the two Heaven Realm warriors, the Reaper Mantis was the weakest one. The one who really made them feel uneasy was the girl wearing a crown of flowers on her head. This was a humanoid beast. Although it didn't speak, the intelligence in its eyes was definitely something that only a holy beast would have. The two Heaven Realm warriors didn't know what this humanoid beast was called. However, they had unintentionally seen that this seemingly harmless flower girl with terrifying battle power had instantly killed the platinum-ranked level 8 giant pollution beast the moment she made her move. This flower-like girl was not to be trifled with. The powerful radiation mechanical beasts that had always dominated the battlefield could only be oppressed in front of her. Even the radiation mecha beasts couldn't do anything to her. If they wanted to fight with her, they really didn't know what kind of beast would be her nemesis. For the first time, the two Heaven Realm warriors let go of their contempt and looked at each other carefully. In their eyes, the gentle girl who summoned the storm wave beast was nothing to be afraid of. She was the weakest among everyone here. However, the human woman standing beside her who was condensing and compressing auroras in her hands had to be on her guard. If he was hit by that aurora head-on, he would definitely be severely injured. As for the two girls who held the prison Emperor Divine sword and possessed the ultimate ice power, they were not to be trifled with. If he was not careful, he would be instantly killed and the same thing would happen again. They finally understood why that abnormally powerful human brat had left without any worries about the safety of his companions. It was really beyond their expectations. It turned out that these women really couldn't be underestimated. If one looked down on them, the consequences would be obvious. Enigua, who was lying on the ground in a frozen state, was a perfect example. Go! The two Heaven Realm warriors would rather go back and face the two goblin centipedes than become enemies with these girls. No matter if it was a human or a beast, they all had the ability to kill in an instant. It was really unwise to fight with them. Furthermore, there wasn't enough space in the sealed passageway to unleash his full strength. When the opponent's aurora appeared, there was no way to dodge. He could only use his full strength to resist. That was how Enigua had ended up in tragedy. Water attack. Shui Wuxia made a hand gesture. If the two Heaven Realm warriors fought to the death, even if they could win, it would take a long time. To their original battle plan, it would be equivalent to overturning everything. Luckily, the instant kill just now had an effect. The enemy was unwilling to attack and retreated to the second hall. This was an important turning point in the battle. Once the enemy retreated, the next battle would be easier. Storm Mermaid blew her storm horn, again summoning a storm. You use beast storm waves. Added fuel to the fire, creating a huge flood that swept all the water towards the second hall. The flow of water was unable to kill enemies, but once the howling wind spell absorbed enough water, it would become a flood spell. No matter if it was the Heaven Realm Centipede or the Heaven Realm Rankers, they would all be fated to die in this flood. Speaking of water battles, was there anyone more proficient than Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon? Not to mention, there was also the Storm Waves. That was the best in water battles, and Shui Wuxia, who possessed the ultimate ice power. Furthermore, the old dragon turtle, who had an incomparably tenacious life force, was also an expert in water battles. At the highest point of the prison Emperor Divine Palace, the third hall, when Yu Yang stepped in, he suddenly realized that there was a transparent giant waiting for him in the middle of the hall. When the transparent giant saw Yu Yang coming, he seemed to be a little surprised. The howling wind spell actually couldn't trap you? Let's fight, stop talking nonsense. Yu Yang felt that there was not much time left. He had to finish the battle quickly, otherwise he would have to run away when the two Heaven Realm Great Leaders woke up. Don't you want the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and the Prison Emperor Divine Seal? If you have the ability, go ahead and take them. I won't stop you. Feng Shinshi, whose entire body was transparent, suddenly smiled strangely. He smiled and said, "Walk forward 100 meters, turn left and enter the inner hall. Walk forward another 10 meters and you will reach the entrance of the profound coffin room at the foot of the Prison Emperor's Divine Statue. The Prison Emperor Divine Staff and the Prison Emperor Divine Seal are inside." Yu Yang's heart sank when he heard this. This Feng Shinshi was so confident and fearless. Could it be that the two Heaven Realm Great Leaders' awakening was unstoppable? What made Yu Yang feel even more uneasy was that Impatience, who was fighting with Lei Shinshi, had disappeared. Where was she now? He could still hear the sounds of her fighting with Lei Shinshi, but now everything was silent. Could it be that she was defeated? What had happened in the middle of all this? Although Lei Shinshi was strong, Impatience was definitely not a weakling. Previously, she had the power of an innate level 10. After retraining, Impatience's power dropped to innate level 9, but it was as if she had been reborn. Her power did not decrease but increased instead. Even if Feng Shinshi and Lei Shinshi attacked together, Impatience would not be defeated so quickly. Could it be that the two Heaven Realm Great Leaders had already broken free from their seals and awakened? When Yu Yang thought about it, he was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. Ming Rihao said that there was still an hour left, but Feng Shinshi and Lei Shinshi were not fools. It was hard to guarantee that they would not do something. Maybe the two great leaders had already awakened earlier, of course. The only one who could scare them was not Yu Yang. Yu Yang teleported and entered the inner palace, rushing towards the profound coffin room. Inside the profound coffin room, Impatience, who was holding a pearl in her hand, was summoning runes non-stop, trying to fight against the two black figures in front of her. Lei Shinshi was nowhere to be found. The two black figures stretched their bodies out from the crystal coffin. Half of their bodies were still inside the crystal coffin. The black figure on the left only needed to stretch out one hand and it could easily resist Impatience's sealing power. If not for the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and Divine Seal releasing an incomparably cold power, the two black figures would have already been freed. Without the suppression of the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and Divine Seal, the two black figures would not even put Impatience's sealing power in their eyes. What's going on? Yu Yang could not understand. How did things become like this? Why did the two great leaders wake up earlier? Feng Shinshi and Lei Shinshi sacrificed their power to wake these two fellows up earlier. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Why are you only here now? Phoenix Fairy Beauty panted a little as she spoke, showing her exhaustion. She had been holding on by herself for too long. Every second to her was an extreme torture. But there is still Feng Shinshi outside. Yu Yang was even more confused when he heard that. Soul bodies, Feng Shinshi and Lei Shinshi are only left with soul energy. Their real bodies have already been sacrificed. Can't you see that they won't attack? They already have no fighting strength left, they only have soul energy left. I can't hold on for long, quickly think of a way. Impatience threw the hot potato to Yu Yang. The two great leaders were about to break free, what else could he do? We have already reached this stage, what else is there to think of? Let's run away quickly. Yu Yang pulled Impatience and hurriedly carried her up, immediately turning around to escape. Holding on forcefully was definitely a road to death. Maybe holding on forcefully would slightly hinder the two great leaders from breaking free, but now that they were awake, there was nothing they could do. Without Impatience's suppression, the two black figures whose faces could not be seen clearly immediately gained the upper hand against the prison emperor's sealing will. They quickly broke free from the prison emperor divine staff and divine seal's suppression. The prison emperor divine staff emitted an extremely dazzling light that was as bright as the sun. However, the prison emperor divine seal that was suppressing the crystal coffin was still slowly being pushed away by the two black figures. The crystal coffin's lid was flipped open and fell to the ground. The prison emperor divine seal's golden light dimmed as it continued to float in the air. However, its suppressive power had been greatly weakened. The seal on the two black figures had already been reduced to its limit. The prison emperor divine staff's brilliance became even brighter. The white light was like a sword, forcing the two black figures to use their hands to protect themselves. The prison emperor divine staff emitted a white light that shone on the two black figures, continuously melting their bodies. However, this was not a fatal injury. It could only obstruct the two black figures and not prevent them from breaking free. After being sealed for 6,000 years, Prison Emperor, you are really a terrifying opponent. I will never forget this terrible defeat. The black figure on the left sighed emotionally when he finally stepped out of the crystal coffin with his right foot. The black figure on the right didn't speak. He only slightly bowed towards the other crystal coffin with an innate rancorous etiquette to show his respect. In the other crystal coffin, it represented the prison emperor's coffin. Actually, there was nothing inside the coffin. The prison emperor's body and soul had already turned into the seal's power and willpower. He had already died 6,000 years ago. When Yu Yang carried Impatience and escaped to the third hall's front hall, Feng Shenshi, whose entire body was transparent, sneered and immediately knelt down respectfully. This was because, behind Yu Yang, two black figures had already chased after him. The black figure on the left revealed his true appearance. He was an extremely handsome man with golden hair, blue eyes and skin as white as jade. He was wearing a snow-white robe that was as white as the clouds in the sky. Above his head, a glorious light wheel was slowly rotating. In between his eyebrows, there was a unique ancient rune, showing his unique identity as a Heaven Realm great leader. Behind his back, there were countless white lights that spread outwards like a pair of wings. They were soft and continuously expanding, emitting a holy power that made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. His hands that were comparable to a woman's were holding a magnificent and matchless divine trident. There were gems inlaid on it and silk ribbons fluttered in the wind. The ancient rune and heaven rune reflected each other on the divine trident, flickering like stars. Under the white cloud robe, his feet were bare. However, when he stepped into the third hall, it was spotless. Every time he took a step, a ball of white light would appear on the ground, completely purifying the place where his feet were stepping on. This Heaven Realm great leader, who had just awakened, did not care about his subordinate Feng Shenshi's respectful welcome. Instead, he looked at Yu Yang with a smile and spoke to Yu Yang and Impatience with a voice that was as beautiful as the sounds of nature. Don't be afraid, young human warriors. I will not kill you. Although killing you is easier than stepping on an ant, I have no intention of harming weak lives. Doing so does not suit my identity. Answer my 3 questions, then I will allow you to leave. See, this is my answer. Yu Yang raised his middle finger. This was all his answer. Chapter 350. Is this a gesture to insult me? This is the first time I saw someone who dared to show disdain and resistance towards me. Interesting. That white-robed heaven-realm great leader was not angry. Instead, he smiled. Even if they are enemies, they can still have their dignity and personality. I will not be angry. The black figure on the right didn't show himself. He was like a black hole, continuously sucking in light into his body. He looked like a black whirlpool. He stood quietly on the right side, not saying a word. Even with Yu Yang's heaven eyes' divine vision, he couldn't see through his appearance and level. However, the sense of danger he brought to Yu Yang was not any weaker than that of the white-robed heaven realm great leader with the divine trident. In fact, it was even stronger. Mingyu Guang is so smart. Did she leave already? I knew that she wouldn't let us come out first. That heaven realm great leader with the divine trident sighed. Feng Shenshi hurriedly replied, Master, Ming Ri Hao colluded with the enemy and formed an alliance with this human in front of you. He used blood sacrifice to strengthen the seal and let this human pull out the prison emperor divine sword. Mingyu Guang had already left half an hour ago. If it wasn't for Ming Ri Hao's betrayal, Mingyu Guang wouldn't have been the first to wake up. Although Yu and Lei Shenshi are slightly stronger than Ming Ri Hao in terms of fighting power, Ming Ri Hao is still more flexible when it comes to using his brain. If it was someone else, how could they come up with the idea of colluding with the enemy to pull out the sword? The heaven realm great leader with the divine trident first praised Ming Ri Hao gently. Then, he suddenly snorted. Even if Mingyu Guang doesn't get along with me and even has the intention to kill me, she is still one of the 3 heaven realm great leaders. You must respect her. Respecting an enemy with a higher status and strength than you, this was the true strength of a true expert. Listen, I won't say this a second time. If I ever hear you call Mingyu Guang's name directly, I will kill you. Yes. Feng Shenshi trembled in fear and quickly knelt down. Yu Yang frowned. He suddenly felt that this heaven realm great leader with the divine trident was a little powerful. Not only was he able to tolerate the enemy's provocation, he was also able to strictly control his subordinates and even respected his enemy. This was definitely not the actions of a mediocre person. It seemed that this fellow's reputation as one of the heaven realm's 3 great leaders was not undeserved. Impatience gently pulled Yu Yang down with her small hands, signaling him to stop watching and to quickly make a move or escape. It was definitely not a good idea to stay here any longer. Yu Yang nodded slightly, indicating that he understood. But he didn't move. He continued to observe quietly. He was actually very anxious in his heart. With every passing second, the 2 giants would recover a bit more of their strength. After these 2 big shots left the sealed coffin room, they were actually very weak, just like Mingyu Guang. They had just come out of the sealed crystal coffin. Of course, this kind of weakness was relative. Even if the 2 giants in front of him had less than 1% of their strength left, it was still not a strength that Yu Yang could fight against right now. There was no use in being anxious. Yu Yang suppressed his pounding heart and used his calmest mind to observe the other party's every word and action. Escaping and attacking were both unwise. He had to find the enemy's weakness. Otherwise, they would definitely lose this battle. You can pull out the prison emperor divine sword? You are indeed very strange. I'm thinking of a question. Even if Mingyu Guang doesn't kill you, she would still capture you. I believe that her eyesight is not inferior to mine. How could she let an interesting human like you go so easily? The heaven realm great leader holding the divine trident looked at Yu Yang again. He frowned slightly, as if he was thinking about something. Master, it was indeed him who pulled out the prison emperor Excalibur. This subordinate saw it with my own eyes. He used a strange pearl to strengthen his emperor's chi and successfully pulled out the prison emperor Excalibur that was resisting him. Feng Shenshi hurriedly reported. Using a treasure to strengthen him? Good idea. The Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was wearing a white robe and holding the divine trident, nodded towards Yu Yang and said with certainty, "You are smarter than I thought. Let me guess you too." Yu Yang suddenly opened his mouth. "You look very strong. I think that you are definitely unable to leave the prison Emperor Divine Palace. That's why you have the idea to attack us. I'm sorry, but let me tell you the real answer. We are also unable to leave the prison Emperor Divine Palace." Hearing this answer, as a Heaven Realm Great Leader, would you be disappointed? No, I have never been worried about being unable to leave the prison Emperor Divine Palace. The Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident smiled and said, "Honestly, the only thing I am worried about is whether Ming Yu Guang would ambush me on my way back. So, I have to make some preparations first." "Does your preparation have anything to do with me?" Yu Yang asked. "No, but I am a little curious. Why would Ming Yu Guang leave you behind? It would be very easy for her to catch a human child like you. Is she purposely making me suspicious and wasting my time? Or do you have some kind of reason that she doesn't dare to touch you?" When the Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident said this, Yu Yang's heartbeat quickened. The Heaven Realm Great Leader was indeed powerful. Even if he hid his chi, he could still see that something was wrong. Most importantly, enemies who liked to think were extremely annoying. This kind of enemy was definitely the most difficult enemy to defeat. As one of the three great leaders of the Heaven Realm, he was extremely powerful, yet he was still so cautious and meticulous. This fellow was a headache. If it wasn't because he had no other choice, Yu Yang wouldn't fight with this kind of enemy. Especially when Yu Yang hadn't grown up yet. Once he fought, he would be at a disadvantage. Yu Yang couldn't reveal any flaws. Although this Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident was extremely powerful, he was different from Ming Yu Guang, who had the Moon Pupils ability. He probably didn't have the ability to see through Yu Yang's hidden strength. He could only use his cautious nature and intelligent brain to think and reason. Any of Yu Yang's expressions and reactions were all within this fellow's calculations. "You are not our opponent, you can't even compare to Feng Shenshi, but you are not afraid. This is definitely not a problem of courage. Maybe you have some kind of special power that can fight against us." The Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident judged. "Congratulations, you got it right." Yu Yang clapped his hands and praised. "Maybe I guessed wrong, but I don't think it's too far off. Young human, you have hidden your strength very well. At your age, you shouldn't have this kind of ability. This shows that you are special." Also, standing beside you, she, who is already close to Heaven Level 1, actually treated you, who is only Earth Level 1, as her master and followed your lead. This shouldn't be because of the soaring dragon continent's male and female status. It should be because your hidden strength far surpasses hers. Hence, she, who knows you very well, always treated you as her first. When the Heaven Realm Great Leader said this, Impatience's heart also jumped a few times. This fellow was really too smart. He could deduce so many things from just a little bit of superficial information. Luckily he woke up late. If he woke up earlier and saw Yu Yang's battle, maybe Yu Yang and everyone's final plan would be seen through by him. Yu Yang held Impatience's small hand lightly and smiled. The enemy was extremely strong and smart. Being so hard to deal with had instead ignited his fighting spirit. Although he couldn't defeat them on the surface, so what? Everyone knew that bosses were hard to fight, but why did everyone fight to be the first to fight bosses? The reason was that fighting bosses was much more challenging and rewarding than bullying small monsters. Only this kind of enemy would be interesting. Yu Yang took a deep breath. The pressure that had been lingering in his heart disappeared. After entering the prison Emperor Divine Palace, this was the first time he showed a relaxed smile and said, "Since I have hidden strength that you can't see through, what do you plan to do?" "It's a little difficult. Ming Yu Guang threw a difficult problem to me. This is her intelligence." The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident frowned slightly, If I don't test you and just let you go, it would be a pity. But if I make a move, it might cause unimaginable consequences. This way, I will fall into Mingyu Guang's trap. Master, this young human has nirvana flame and world exterminating wheel. Ming Ri Hao saw his hidden strength, that's why he formed an alliance with him. Feng Shen sure reported to the Heaven Realm Great Leader. Is that so? The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident nodded his head. Possessing nirvana flame is equivalent to possessing an immortal body. As for the world exterminating wheel, it's a huge temptation. I have always wanted to obtain the ancient runes of the world exterminating wheel. Dangerous. In this kind of situation, Mingyu Guang still left you behind and gave you to me. Her intentions are very sinister. Could it be that I will die under the attack of the nirvana flame and the world exterminating wheel? I really have to think about it carefully. Young Yu, I don't want to deny the greed in my heart. If I don't make a move and see if I can snatch your ancient runes, I won't be at ease. Under temptation, who can be completely free from desires? If you don't want me to kill you, then prove it to me. You must be an outstanding rancor, worthy of possessing the world exterminating wheel, that even I don't have. As for the nirvana flame, it's not something that anyone can snatch away. I don't have any extravagant hope. Alright, I also want to fight with you. Yu Yang suppressed the nervousness in his heart and lightly held onto Impatience's small hands, signaling her to retreat. Impatience also held onto his hands lightly. Her palms were moist and sweaty. It was obvious that she was very worried about him. He wasn't even Feng Shen's opponent. Now that he had to fight against a Heaven Realm Great Leader who was 100 times stronger than Feng Shen and had a divine weapon in his hands, it would be a lie if Impatience said that she wasn't worried. She understood and respected Yu Yang's intentions. She wouldn't stop him in this battle. But she wouldn't leave. She would use all her power to protect him. Unless that Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident killed her as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get his way. The Heaven Realm Great Leader who was originally standing quietly on the right suddenly turned his head towards his companion, as if he was saying something. There was no sound. Only his thoughts were connected to his companion. Yu Yang and Impatience couldn't hear what he was saying. Based on the reactions of the other two, Yu Yang judged that this Heaven Realm Great Leader, who looked like a black hole without showing himself, didn't seem to agree to fight. However, after his companion with the divine trident persisted for a while, he finally agreed. That black hole-like fellow looked at Yu Yang. Yu Yang immediately felt as if he was being seen through. He hurriedly hid all of his strength and solemnly summoned out his gold grimoire. He pretended to be, "I'm very weak, please don't hit me," to confuse the enemy. Showing all of his strength and then PK with the enemy was the most foolish thing to do. Yu Yang had to use a surprise attack to gain a slight advantage. Let alone outsiders. Even Yu Yang himself knew that it was impossible to fight head-on. His opponent was one of the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm. Fighting head-on would only be courting death. "Show me your true strength," the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was holding the divine trident, said indifferently. Suddenly, he appeared in front of Yu Yang. Before Yu Yang could react, he reached out his hand through the protective shield and pressed on Yu Yang's face. His chi exploded and sent Yu Yang flying 100 meters away. Yu Yang broke 3 giant pillars consecutively and landed heavily on the wall of the prison Emperor Divine Palace. Only then did he stop flying. Impatience, who was beside Yu Yang, was dumbstruck. She couldn't believe her opponent's attack speed. This kind of speed was unbelievably fast. Even though she and Yu Yang were prepared, they couldn't keep up at all. Heavens, this was still a Heaven Realm Great Leader who had just escaped from the seal and was still weak. If they were at their peak, how terrifying would they be? Chapter 351. Boom. The walls of the palace shattered and collapsed. Yu Yang, who was still lying on the ground, suddenly disappeared. He appeared behind the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident. The Hui Jin magic blade in his hand was covered in yang ability flames. With the imposing manner of first slash, earth-splitting slash, he fiercely slashed down. Insufficient strength and SOSO speed. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident turned into a shadow and disappeared. At the same time, he appeared behind Yu Yang. He pressed his palm against the air. Yu Yang's body seemed to have been hit by a mammoth as he was sent flying. He tried his best to adjust his position in midair. When his body hit the ground, the Hui Jin magic blade mysteriously slashed at the ground, borrowing the force to slide backwards. At the same time, he eliminated the terrifying impact of the enemy's attack. After creating a crack that was almost 100 meters long, Yu Yang stopped his sliding momentum. For the second time, he rushed towards the Heaven Realm Great Leader who was holding the divine trident. This time, not only did he use the Hui Jin magic blade that contained the power of the Yang ability, he also used the crescent blade that contained the power of the Yin ability. In midair, they formed a mysterious Yin and Yang twin fish. Ice and fire mixed and rotated in the circle. It seemed slow, but it was actually very fast. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident's eyes lit up. He did not dodge, but slowly stretched out his hand that was as white as a girl's. With this right hand, he blocked Yu Yang's thunderous, heavy ice and fire slash. No matter if it was the extremely sharp crescent moon blade or the Hui Jin magic blade that had accompanied Yu Yang for a long time, none of them were able to injure that fair and tender right hand. Not even a single scratch could be seen. Yu Yang had only used his protective energy to easily receive the second slash, a heaven and earth collapse. That could instantly kill a low-ranked innate. You shouldn't be so weak. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident's right hand shook slightly. Boom! A white light exploded. The Hui Jin magic blade and the crescent moon blade in Yu Yang's hands were directly sent flying. Yu Yang, who was gripping his weapons tightly, was actually shaken by the white light to the point that the skin between his thumb and forefinger had split open and traces of blood seeped out. Yu Yang took more than 10 steps forward. When his momentum dissipated, he gritted his teeth and pounced forward again. In his hands, heaven runes and ancient runes converged. It was dazzling like the Milky Way. In the end, it formed the world-exterminating wheel. With the power to destroy everything in the world, it slashed towards the Heaven Realm Great Leader with an unstoppable force. Before this, there had never been an enemy who dared to take on the world-exterminating wheel head-on. Shun Tian, who was known as the Great Emperor of Ziwei, the Thousand Goblins sect leader, the Demon Abyss Great Demon King Baruth and others, who were much stronger than Yu Yang, could only dodge and retreat when they faced the world-exterminating wheel. They didn't dare to face the world-exterminating wheel head-on. The world-exterminating wheel wasn't something that could be blocked with brute force. It represented destruction. Everything in the world, as long as it was within its attack range, would be destroyed. The only exception was the user, Yu Yang, who could control its operation. Snatch! When the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine halberd saw this, he was not shocked, but happy instead. He seemed to be waiting for Yu Yang to unleash his world-exterminating wheel. His right hand, which he was controlling, changed from pressing down to grabbing. He pulled it in. The unstoppable world-exterminating wheel, which contained the power to destroy everything, flew towards his right hand. The world-exterminating wheel, which was spinning at an extremely fast speed, stopped in the hands of the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine halberd. It spun even faster, but it couldn't move an inch forward. On the back of the Heaven Realm Great Leader, countless white light wings transformed into soft light ribbons. They extended forward as if they had a life of their own. Like an octopus preying on its prey, countless light ribbons probed towards the world-exterminating wheel. The Heaven Realm runes on the outside seemed to be unable to harm those light ribbons. Instead, they were stuck and captured by the light ribbons. Not only Yu Yang, even the impatiens had never seen such a strange scene before. She had heard of snatching Heaven Realm runes before, and also knew that some rankers were especially good at snatching other people's runes. However, impatiens had never seen anyone who directly used light ribbons to snatch Heaven Realm runes. Looking at the Heaven Realm rune circles being destroyed by the light ribbons, Impatience's heart sank. Could it be that the Heaven Realm Great Leader was really that strong? Even the world exterminating wheel couldn't do anything to him? Yu Yang was about to rush forward and add another innate sword chi. Suddenly, the immemorial rune in the center of the world exterminating wheel emerged from the core of the Heaven Realm runes. A light flashed. The ancient runes surrounding the immemorial rune instantly released 1,000 times more energy and a dazzling light. The white light ribbons that extended from the back of the Heaven Realm Great Leader were instantly cut off and absorbed by the ancient rune circle. The Heaven Realm runes that were captured earlier returned to the Heaven Realm Great Leader one by one and formed an even stronger and more mysterious combination. Yu Yang's Heaven Eye's divine vision discovered that the world exterminating wheel seemed to have activated a new ability, but it also seemed that it was only now displaying its true power. That kind of destructive power had increased by 100 times. Even the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was as strong as the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident, immediately retracted his hand and tilted his upper body, dodging the attack of the world exterminating wheel. When the world exterminating wheel dispersed into various runes and returned to Yu Yang's body, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident looked at Yu Yang with a serious expression. He stretched out his right hand that was slightly bleeding from a cut and muttered to himself, "It's actually the world exterminating wheel that has the immemorial runes." The Heaven Realm Great Leader, who had never opened his mouth and whose body was like a black hole, suddenly released a special energy wave. He seemed to be communicating with his companion who was holding the divine trident. Yes, this is the real world exterminating wheel. The legendary world exterminating wheel. That can destroy everything in the world, so it's actually like this. I'm a little jealous. Why would a human man possess the real world exterminating wheel and Nirvana's flame? He's really blessed by the heavens. You, me and Ming Yu Guang are known as the Heaven Realm's 3 great leaders, but none of us can possess it. Out of the 36 immemorial runes, one has appeared in front of me. It's a pity that it can't be snatched away. This is really the biggest regret in my life. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident nodded towards his companion and sighed. Come over to me. Impatience felt that Yu Yang couldn't continue attacking. If this continued, the other party who was jealous would definitely kill him. With your strength, it's a miracle that you can injure me. Of course, you have the real world exterminating wheel. So it's reasonable that you can injure my body. How contradictory. Show me your Nirvana's flame again. Although I can't snatch it away, I've never seen it before, so there's always a trace of regret in my heart. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident's expression quickly returned to normal. As you wish. Yu Yang condensed Nirvana's flame on his hands and rushed towards his opponent. 2 balls of Nirvana's flame? That's more than what I imagined. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident stretched out his right hand and easily received the 2 punches from Yu Yang. Yu Yang was pushed back. The Heaven Realm Great Leader looked at his right hand in astonishment. At the place where Yu Yang's fists collided, the Nirvana's flame was burning his finger. No matter how much energy he used, he was unable to extinguish the Nirvana's flame. The Nirvana's flame had the power to purify everything in the world. Compared to the world exterminating wheel, that could only destroy and not create, it was even more powerful. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident slashed the divine trident's blade with his right hand. He directly sliced off a layer of flesh. The Nirvana's flame was cut off. His injured finger was recovering at a speed that could be seen by the naked eye. When Yu Yang stood up, his injured right hand had already recovered to its original state. There was no damage at all. Luckily, you still don't know how to control a Nirvana's flame from a distance. Otherwise, I would be in an even more difficult situation. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident muttered to himself and asked Yu Yang, "Do you still have any more powerful abilities? I feel that you are still holding back. Even though you are not my opponent, I feel that you are still hiding something. Young human, I really admire your determination. Even in this kind of situation, you are still able to maintain your fighting spirit and even want to kill me. Including the prison emperor, you are the second human who has such guts and dared to fight against me. I still have more powerful abilities, do you want to try?" In Yu Yang's eyes there was indeed a deep killing intent. The enemy was strong, unbelievably strong. It was impossible to kill him if he fought with brute force. The enemy even had 2 Heaven Realm Great Leaders. Once they were in danger, they would join hands to counterattack. The difference between the 2 great leaders' combined strength was not something that could be made up with brute force and fighting spirit. The only way was to continuously attack and find the enemy's weakness during the battle. Before finding the enemy's weakness, wanting to kill a strong enemy like the Heaven Realm Great Leader was simply a joke. If it was someone else, facing such a terrifying Heaven Realm Great Leader, they would have already given up all hope. However, in Yu Yang's heart, there was no fear at all. Instead, there was an indescribable excitement, the kind of excitement that only comes from challenging a truly strong enemy. As a man of character, he would rise up in the face of adversity, and become stronger when he meets strong opponents. Previously, the great emperor of Jiwei, Shun Tian, and the 1,000 Goblins sect leader had gradually caught up to him. Yu Yang's goal was no longer on them. The current Yu Yang already had a new goal. That was to become a Heaven Realm Great Leader who was far stronger and smarter than Shun Tian and the 1,000 Goblins sect leader. Yu Yang felt that as long as he found the enemy's weakness, he would still have a chance to kill the enemy. There were many ways to kill the enemy. Nirvana's flame, world exterminating wheel, and even innate invisible sword chi were all possible. The only problem was to find the weakness of the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident. What was his weakness? Everyone had a weakness. Some people had more, some people had fewer. Some people's weaknesses were especially obvious, while some people hid their weaknesses very deeply. For example, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident in front of him. On the surface, he seemed to have no weakness at all, as if he was an absolutely perfect existence. However, Yu Yang knew that he had a weakness. There was no one in this world without a weakness, including the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm. As Yu Yang fought, he used his Heaven Eye's divine vision to try and find the enemy's weakness. Just when he felt that he was about to find it, a feeling emerged in his heart. As long as he persevered and fought, he might be able to find it immediately. Young human warrior, do you think that I will foolishly wait for you to explode? The Heaven Realm Great Leader suddenly laughed. Dong! Yu Yang, who was preparing to attack again, fell to the ground with a dong sound and fell into a deep sleep. He was hypnotized. Originally, with Yu Yang's willpower and ability, there was no warrior in the entire Soaring Dragon continent who could hypnotize him. However, in front of the Heaven Realm Great Leader, he was actually hypnotized unknowingly and fell into a deep sleep, like a defenseless baby. On the right wrist of the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident, there was a small bracelet. On the bracelet there was a light green pearl. It shattered soundlessly into pieces and gradually disappeared in the air. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident turned his face and looked at him patience. You don't seem to be worried about his life? Can you tell me why? He possesses Nirvana's flame and can be reborn without dying. What am I afraid of? Impatience looked at Yu Yang with a rarely seen gentleness in her eyes. No, this is not the real answer. The Heaven Realm Great Leader disagreed. All right, I'll tell you. The real answer is that I am prepared to attack. Unless I die, don't even think about killing him. Impatience's eyes gradually became firm. She stared at the Heaven Realm Great Leader and snorted. I am not the prison emperor, I do not have the ability to seal you. However, please do not look down on other human warriors other than the prison emperor. Otherwise, I will kill you. Did I hear wrongly? The Heaven Realm Great Leader did not mock her, he was more curious. There is a type of summoning that can only be used once in one's life. Impatience suddenly smiled. Coincidentally, I know this kind of sacrificial summoning method. Life ignition? The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident had a solemn expression. The correct answer is hundredfold life ignition. When Impatience said this, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident, who had a calm and composed expression, immediately changed. Impatience took a deep breath and started the summoning. Chapter 352. It was a very special kind of incantation. On the surface, the incantation was very light, almost indistinct. But the real power was resonating in the depths of their hearts. When Impatience started to incantation, this summoning skill that could increase her battle power by 100 times through life combustion, everyone's soul roared as if they were struck by lightning. The Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident had a grave expression on his face. For the first time, he made a defensive gesture. He used his right hand to protect his chest. The grimoire floated out and slowly floated in front of Impatience. It followed its master and rose 10 meters into the sky. Countless heaven runes emerged from the grimoire. As Impatience waved her hands, they formed a mysterious rune pattern that complemented and merged with each other. The Heaven Realm Great Leader holding the divine trident saw this and his face changed. He could see that his opponent was not faking it. She definitely had the ability to increase her battle power by 100 times through life combustion. This was a summoning skill that even the Heaven Realm rankers did not have. Some of the heaven runes exploded. The rune pattern cracked. The golden pillar of light from the grimoire pierced through the sky and enveloped Impatience. Boom! That aura was like an earth-shattering tsunami. It was also like a volcanic eruption, spreading out in all directions with a loud bang. Impatience's body had already fused with her guardian beast. A pair of purple demon wings quickly extended from her back. It was very long, at least 10 meters long. On the 2 demon wings, the heaven runes formed a rune pattern and flashed. A small hole appeared on the back of Impatience's snow-white buttocks, and a long tail with thorns extended out. A small and cute demon horn gradually grew on her head. It was curved and beautiful, but it did not look evil. On the contrary, it made people feel that it was very tempting and incomparably charming. Her 10 beautiful fingernails that were smeared with Impatience flower nectar also gradually extended and became purple demon claws. At the same time, Impatience's eyes changed color. Her pupils became deep purple. When her eyes were half opened, she was already extremely beautiful. When the eyelashes trembled, the purple eyes opened completely, revealing the noble and cold eyes of a demon king. The golden light pillar was also unable to conceal its energy. It was formed by heaven runes and with the ancient runes as the center, a beautiful halo of dark purple, crimson purple and light purple was formed. It was a perfect and ingenious combination, surrounding Impatience's body. These special images had appeared before when Impatience leveled up to innate level 10. However, the aura at that time was far from being as piercingly cold and strong as it was now. Impatience, whose jade-like hands were pressing on the grimoire, suddenly let out a shrill scream. The entire prison Emperor Divine Palace was shaking. Her body was trembling slightly, as if she was enduring endless pain. At first, it was only 1 time. But soon, it increased to 5 times, 10 times when the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident saw Impatience risking her life to level up. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Although there was nothing to fear about human warriors, other than the prison emperor, he had never seen anyone who could cause fatal damage to him. However, it was undeniable that many human warriors were stubborn. They would rather die than fight to the end. They would usually self-destruct or burn their life to inflict heavy damage to their enemies, completely disregarding their own lives. This kind of sacrifice was rarely seen among the Heaven Realm warriors. Unless it was someone from their own clan or sect, the Heaven Realm warriors would not sacrifice themselves for any outsiders. As for humans, many of them didn't even know why they fought. Sometimes, they would willingly sacrifice themselves for a stranger, an unfamiliar friend, or even an enemy they hated. Humans were very puzzled. The Heaven Realm Great Leader had spent thousands of years but still couldn't understand. When the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident was thinking, Impatience's power was increasing rapidly. Impatience spat out a mouthful of blood and sprinkled it on her own grimoire. Her body was ignited with a special purple flame. An ancient rune appeared on Impatience's forehead. As the ancient rune shone brilliantly, Impatience's power increased again. Now, it had already increased by 20 times. Furthermore, it was increasing by 30 times crazily, like a tornado. The energy around Impatience's body spun crazily. Even the golden pillar of light that the grimoire shot out was distorted by the energy storm of the tornado. After breaking through the bottleneck of 100 years, Impatience leveled up to innate level 10. Stepping into this new realm, her power had already crossed the dividing line. After Yu Yang's Nirvana rebirth, Phoenix Fairy Beauty had benefited a lot. She had dropped from innate level 10 to innate level 9, but her strength had increased instead. This was because her energy had produced a kind of Nirvana rebirth, transforming from a quantitative change to a qualitative change. The current Phoenix Fairy Beauty, under the summoning of Life Ignition, had once again exploded. Although it did not immediately increase by 100 times, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident no longer had any doubts. "You're crazy. I don't even have the intention to kill you." He looked at Impatience in the sky, trying his best to suppress his emotions, and shouted loudly, "You want to stop me? Then try it." Impatience raised her hand. Faster than lightning, she appeared behind the Heaven Realm Great Leader. Just as she stretched out her hand, she pressed on his back. Her palm energy exploded. For the first time, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident was sent flying. The Heaven Realm Great Leader took 9 steps forward. Then he stabilized himself. A trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were still calm. His left hand that was holding the Divine Trident didn't move, but his right hand lightly wiped the blood stain from the corner of his mouth. 30 times increase, you can already injure me? If it was 100 times increase, then it would be a little dangerous. I shouldn't have looked down on human warriors. If I wasn't defeated by the prison emperor and sealed for 6,000 years, if I didn't only have 100 times of strength left, as a Heaven Realm Great Leader, why would I care about this? I was too careless, too careless. Can I stop now? I really don't want to fight with you. Even if you don't care about your own life, you have to look at him on the ground. Isn't this young human boy your hope? If I fight with you to the death, then he will definitely be involved and die a violent death. Don't tell me you want to see this happen? Smart Heaven Realm Great Leader, do you know what I want to tell you the most? Before Impatience finished speaking, she pressed her hand on the back of his head again. It hurts. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident wasn't sent flying this time, but his body swayed a little. With a slight sway, he eliminated the power of Impatience's attack. Until now, he still hadn't used the Divine Trident in his hand. Impatience didn't chase after him. She, who had burned her life to increase her strength by 30 times, suddenly pressed her hand on the grimoire and muttered. Yu Yang, who was sleeping on the ground, magically stood up in his dream. Although his eyes were closed, his expression was very angry. It was as if someone had angered him in his dream. Impatience's fist, which was pressed on the grimoire, slowly tightened and clenched it. Yu Yang's expression became even angrier. The nirvana flame on his body exploded crazily. It was as if hell was collapsing, or as if a volcano was erupting. Yu Yang, who was seething with anger, roared like a wild beast. His voice was like thunder, resounding through the entire prison Emperor Divine Palace. It was deafening. With one step, the ground exploded. Mud and dust flew everywhere. Yu Yang was like a madman who had lost his mind. He angrily rushed towards the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident. In an instant, he had already attacked 100 times. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident was slightly astonished. He was surprised by Impatience's charm inherent skill. It was fine if he had a consciousness, but this brat was already asleep. How could he be hypnotized? Furthermore, this kind of hypnosis was even more powerful than hypnosis using treasures. The hypnosis pearl was extremely powerful. Many Heaven Realm warriors had died under its hypnosis. However, this kind of hypnosis could only be used once. What made the Heaven Realm Great Leader even more surprised was that Impatience, who had life ignition, could also make her comrade use a life ignition. Although he didn't know what caused this kind of ability, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident had already realized that his opponent's skill was much better than what he had imagined. Even he, one of the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm, didn't have a summoning skill that could increase his comrade's power by 10 times or even more than 10 times. Most importantly, this kind of a life ignition that could increase his comrade's power was non-destructive. Danger! The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident already felt an indescribable sense of danger. Yu Yang, who had just been pushed back, increased his strength again. Impatience threw a purple ball of light onto his body. Yu Yang's body immediately turned into a demon king. Of course, that was only an image of his back, not his real body. Yu Yang, who possessed nirvana flame, and was in a berserk state due to charm, moved his hands and condensed a fire phoenix. He was prepared to control this fire phoenix that could destroy heaven and earth and attack the Heaven Realm Great Leader. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident was finally moved. He didn't stand at his original position anymore. Instead, he soared into the sky. In his hands, he waved the Divine Trident for the first time. A white wave of light, like a lightning that could split heaven and earth, bombarded towards the top of Yu Yang's head. He was prepared to use it to destroy the fire phoenix. At the same time, Impatience had already caught up. Her hand had already pressed on the Heaven Realm Great Leader's back. She released all her strength. The Heaven Realm Great Leader quickly dodged. Impatience chased after him closely. Her shadow drew a long shadow in the sky, as if she was pressing on the Heaven Realm Great Leader's back, wanting to ruthlessly press him to the ground. On the ground, with a boom, Impatience's right hand sunk deep into the ground. The Heaven Realm Great Leader, who had narrowly escaped, was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. So close if he was just a little bit slower. Come out, my slave. Finally, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident opened his mouth to summon. A ray of white light shot down from the sky. The shockwave from the Heaven Realm Great Leader's summoning grimoire wasn't something that a normal person could withstand. Compared to Impatience's life ignition, the shockwave was several times stronger. Looks like this Heaven Realm Great Leader didn't even use his true strength just now. On the other side, Impatience had used her second charm, on Yu Yang, who was riding on the Fire Phoenix, allowing him to complete his second berserk transformation. In the historical records of the Soaring Dragon Continent, there were many great sages or great saints. When they researched on strengthening a berserk, almost all of them supported berserk and spent their whole lives researching it. However, the results they achieved were very little, almost negligible. In other words, the human's second berserk only existed in theory. No one had been able to achieve it. For thousands of years, only impatience was able to successfully complete this kind of unimaginable, his second berserk. Yu Yang, who had been stimulated into berserk for the second time, completely went berserk. Seeing his second berserk transformation, the Heaven Realm Great Leader's eyes widened, revealing a kind of disbelief. This was the Heaven Realm's secret art. Only a few people could master it. How did the human warriors of the Soaring Dragon continent learn it? Chapter 353. Yu Yang was in front and impatience was behind. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident did not even have time to react before he saw a fist burning with Nirvana's flame rapidly enlarging. He could only watch as Yu Yang's fist landed on his chest. Moreover, Impatience's thunderous strike was also on his back. Humans are indeed a race that creates miracles. The Heaven Realm Great Leader's body shook, and pushed Yu Yang and Impatience away. He spat out a mouthful of blood, but his eyes became sharp. He nodded his head and said, "Interesting." Although the energy protecting his body was very strong, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident was still injured under the double attack of Yu Yang and Impatience, who was 30 times stronger than before. Compared to the blood dripping from the corner of his mouth just now, this time, he was really injured. However, Yu Yang and Impatience's attack had completely enraged him. He pushed Yu Yang and Impatience away and immediately counterattacked. The Divine Trident, which was shining brilliantly, pointed forward and the energy in his body exploded like a mountain torrent. Just like a shock wave, it spread. However, it did not have any destructive power. It only formed a huge domain of space around his body. 50 times gravity. The Heaven Realm Great Leader hit the ground with his Divine Trident. Countless heaven runes gathered under his feet and formed a huge circle. Boom! Yu Yang, who was in the sky, immediately fell to the ground like a meteor. Even the powerful Impatience who had burned her life to increase her combat power by 30 times also fell slowly. When she stepped on the ground, the stone slabs actually cracked under her weight and spread out like a spider web. On the other side, both of Yu Yang's legs were deeply embedded in the stone slabs. Because he was in the state of second berserk, Yu Yang did not care about his opponent's moves at all. As long as his body could still move, he would continue to attack. Yu Yang slowly moved his body. Stepping on the stone slabs, he walked towards the Heaven Realm Great Leader. So you become even stronger when you lose your mind. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident looked at Yu Yang's actions and immediately understood why the Impatience didn't stop him from using hypnosis. She also didn't use her spirit to dispel the hypnosis. It turned out that this young human male would become even stronger when he lost his mind. This situation could only mean one thing. That was, this young human male had extremely strong potential that far surpassed what he had now and had yet to be developed. However, he was unable to unleash his strongest strength when he was rational, because he was still unclear of where his true potential lay. When he lost his rationality and was completely enraged, this brat's battle prowess would unknowingly burst forth. Most importantly, this kind of irrational rage would not harm his body at all. This was because this brat possessed the Nirvana flame of Nirvana rebirth to protect his body. From this, it could be seen that the true potential in his body was far above the combat strength he had displayed. It was immeasurable. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident would naturally not let this situation continue. He waved his divine halberd and pointed it at Yu Yang. Disperse! A strange light shot out from the Divine Trident. It struck Yu Yang's forehead, instantly dispelling the hypnosis and restoring Yu Yang's body to its original state. My head hurts. Yu Yang's consciousness immediately recovered. It was as if he had woken up from a nightmare. His head was throbbing with pain. What made Yu Yang even more uncomfortable was that because his consciousness was clear, his second berserk state quickly disappeared. His originally increased battle prowess quickly decreased. The 50 times gravity pressed down on Yu Yang, making it hard for him to breathe. Within the Heaven Realm Great Leader's domain, any living being would have to bear the effects of 50 times gravity. However, the Impatiens noticed a detail. The stones, buildings and objects here were not affected at all. The gravity they withstood was still the same. The protective shield of the summoning grimoire was unable to eliminate the effects of the gravity. Obviously, the opponent's domain had completely penetrated through the protective shield. The opponent was a Heaven Realm Great Leader, not an ordinary mercenary. The protective shield of the summoning grimoire was useless against him. Impatiens immediately reacted. Life ignition 50 times. While she was chanting, Yu Yang took advantage of the situation before the second berserk state disappeared to forcefully jump up. He rode on the fire phoenix and rushed towards the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the divine trident's eyes flashed. He did not receive the attack head-on, but raised his halberd towards the sky. A strange light shot up to the sky from the tip of the divine trident. Countless heaven runes sparkled brightly like a galaxy, interweaving into a mysterious rune circle. Void. The Heaven Realm Great Leader pointed his halberd and the entire space immediately became a space without any gravity. Yu Yang, who was using all the energy in his body to resist against the 50 times gravity, didn't even have time to adjust. 1 second later, Yu Yang flew backwards like a meteor and crashed heavily onto the dome of the prison Emperor Divine Palace. The entire third hall shook and trembled non-stop. Impatiens noticed that the shattered stones and dust were slowly falling down. Other than living things, anything that was not living was actually not affected by the domain. She saw it in her eyes and remembered it in her heart. She felt that this might be the weakness of the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was holding the divine halberd. Of course, the divine halberd was definitely a patch for this weakness. Without it, this Heaven Realm Great Leader's battle power would definitely be greatly reduced. 50 times gravity. The Heaven Realm Great Leader paused. Yu Yang's body crashed onto the ground with a loud rumble. Void. The Heaven Realm Great Leader raised his halberd towards the sky. Yu Yang, who was struggling to resist the gravity on the ground, shot towards the dome of the third hall like a meteorite. Don't forget there's still me. Is it fun to bully a child? Impatiens appeared behind the Heaven Realm Great Leader. She turned her hand into a claw and grabbed the Heaven Realm Great Leader's right shoulder. Phew! The Heaven Realm Great Leader instantly disappeared, avoiding the battle. He smiled towards Impatiens and said, "You are trying to lure me to attack. No, I will not fight with you. You want to die together with me. I know that you definitely have some kind of skill that can do that. However, I am not an idiot. Enraging him is useless to me. How long can you last with 50 times life combustion?" Impatiens' heart sank when she heard this. The enemy did not fall for her trap at all. What should she do? How long could she last under 50 times life combustion? Could it be that she really had to use 100 times life combustion? Even faster than Phoenix Fairy Beauty's decision, the Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine trident waved his divine trident and shouted, "Absolute domain, 100 times gravity." Yu Yang's hands and legs, which were supporting the ground, sank deeply into the stone. Under 100 times gravity, not to mention him, even Impatiens would find it hard to resist. Her lotus feet crushed the ground. Her body bent slightly under the pressure of 100 times gravity. If she did not use her hands to support the grimoire, she might have fallen to the ground. 100 times gravity was not something a human could resist. What was even more unbearable was that the Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd could immediately turn the space within the range of his domain into void without any gravity. Impatiens was still fine, she could barely endure it. Yu Yang was miserable. His body could not endure it at all. It was as if he was being trampled by a herd of mammoths. He used his bloody hand to hold the hovering grimoire tightly, preventing it from falling towards the dome of the Great Hall. As long as the opponent kept changing the 100 times gravity and void without gravity, Yu Yang felt that the only thing he could do was to run away. That way, he would not have any chance of winning. I said, "Don't forget, your opponent is me." Impatience snorted. When the Heaven Realm Great Leader turned around to look at her, suddenly, he saw a jade-like hand flying through the air. Its speed was faster than lightning. In less than 1,000th of a second, it was already in front of him and quickly enlarged. An irresistible force exploded, like the raging waves of the sea beating against the shore. The Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd felt a chill in his heart. Before he could brandish the divine halberd in his hand to attack his opponent, he was hit by that force. In Yu Yang's eyes, he was shocked to see that Impatience had actually used her claw to press the arrogant Heaven Realm Great Leader to the ground. Her sharp claw grabbed the side of the Heaven Realm Great Leader's head. Taking advantage of the fact that the Heaven Realm Great Leader had turned around to look at her, she forcefully pressed the Heaven Realm Great Leader to the ground. Rumble! The entire third palace hall was shocked by the power of this one press. That kind of reverberating sound reverberated in the palace hall for a long time. Forget about Feng Shen-Shi and the other black hole-like Heaven Realm Great Leader, even Yu Yang felt that it was inconceivable. How was this possible? The incomparably strong Heaven Realm Great Leader was actually pressed to the ground by Impatience's claw? Just when everyone was dumbstruck, the Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd raised his arm and forcefully lifted his head from the ground. The divine halberd stabbed backwards, fiercely stabbing towards Impatience's body. However, the Heaven Realm Great Leader's first attack with the divine halberd was completely ineffective against the current Impatience. "It's useless!" Impatience shouted. She swung her jade-like claw. The Heaven Realm Great Leader who was pressing down was like a cannonball as he flew towards a pillar of the palace hall. In an instant, the pillar shattered and he smashed into the wall of the palace, deeply imprinting a human figure. The Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd immediately reacted. His body flew out from the wall, faster than a ray of light. The divine halberd in his hand turned into a lightning bolt in the hands of the Thunder God, striking towards Impatience. The demon wings on Impatience's back flapped extremely quickly. With a flap, she had already circled behind the Heaven Realm Great Leader. She stretched out her claws and grabbed the Heaven Realm Great Leader's ankle. Her whole body was lifted up and fiercely smashed onto the ground. Without waiting for the Heaven Realm Great Leader to stand up, one of her jade feet had already landed on the Heaven Realm Great Leader's face. At the same time, both of her hands reached towards the sky. Countless amounts of energy gathered in her hands. A strange sight appeared in the entire sky. All of the energy that was drifting around started to go berserk. Then, following a certain pattern, it quickly gathered towards the space between Impatience's hands. In the sky, it twisted and formed a terrifying energy flow. Purple lightning flashed like a fire snake, and thunder rumbled. Heavens! Punishment! Impatience had never told Yu Yang what her domain of power was. She had also never shown it to him before. However, the current Yu Yang had already completely understood. It turns out that Impatience's domain of power was this kind of heaven's punishment. The Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd revealed a trace of fear in his eyes. If the old dragon turtle was here to see this, he would realize that 6,000 years ago, when the prison emperor used the prison emperor divine staff to seal her, this Heaven Realm Great Leader also revealed the same fear in his eyes. Under the hundredfold life combustion, Impatience faced the Heaven Realm Great Leader who had just awakened and was still in a weakened state. Her attack was simply an instant kill. Right now, she had used her strongest heaven's punishment domain of power. With the strongest power in her life, she was prepared to forcefully kill this enemy who was a Heaven Realm Great Leader. Even if she had to pay with her life, she would not stop. Would she be able to succeed? This was the first time in his life that the Heaven Realm Great Leader wielding the divine halberd revealed an expression of fear in front of a human girl. Chapter 354. Countless lightning bolts gathered on Impatience's hands, forming a huge ball of lightning. The whole third hall was as bright as day under the illumination of the lightning. Heaven and earth were overshadowed by it. This was the power of heaven's punishment. It was not something that a human could resist. Even if it was the Heaven Realm Great Leader who had just woken up, he couldn't ignore it. Be careful. Although Yu Yang's mind was shaken by the scene of sky law, his extraordinary senses made him feel a great sense of danger. From the corner of his eyes, he saw a black figure floating out from the black hole. It was the Heaven Realm Great Leader who had been hiding in the black hole domain. That fellow's hands condensed two black balls of energy that could devour everything, as if he was preparing to sneak attack Impatience. Yu Yang panicked and rushed over recklessly, using his body to block Impatience's back. The ball of energy from the star explosion domain burst out and was thrown towards the opponent. At the same time, Impatience struck with both of her hands. The power of sky law that had been strengthened 100 times fiercely struck the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was holding the divine trident. The Heaven Realm Great Leader, who had the black hole domain's power, blocked Yu Yang's star explosion with a black ball of energy. His right hand that was holding the black ball of energy passed through the grimoire's protective shield and pressed fiercely on Yu Yang's chest. The whole space was distorted. Not only was there the power of sky law, there was also the collision between the star explosion and the black ball of energy, the collision between the black ball of energy and Yu Yang's protective innate chi, and even the repulsion between the Heaven Realm Great Leaders' black hole domain and Yu Yang's grimoire's protective shield. Even the sound was shattered by the explosion. In the space, other than the four of them, everything else was turned into dust. The shockwave also sent Feng Shenshi, who was in his soul form, flying a few hundred meters away. The entire third hall's pillars were broken, the dome was pierced through and the ground cracked, almost collapsing. If it wasn't for the prison emperor's will protecting the third hall, if it was a normal building, it would have been turned into rubble by the shockwave of the explosion. When the smoke and dust had settled, the four people who were standing still, the first to move was the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who was hit by Impatience's sky law 100 times stronger. He, who was holding onto the divine trident, suddenly moved. He had lost an arm, and his handsome face was covered in blood. His left shoulder and the left half of his body were severely injured. White bones could be seen in several places. His left eye was closed. The blood on his forehead flowed down his eyelid from his hairline, then slid down his chin like bloody tears, dripping drop by drop onto his remaining right hand. His right hand was still holding onto the divine halberd, but he did not counterattack the Impatience. Instead, he extended the halberd and passed through the gap between Yu Yang's arms and ribs, blocking the second attack of the Heaven Realm Great Leader, who had the black hole domain. Yu Yang and Impatience were both stunned by this. It was fine if this fellow didn't retaliate, but he even helped Yu Yang block a fatal blow from his comrade? Could it be that this fellow's brain had been beaten silly by the power of Tianfa? Yu Yang and Impatience were really puzzled. The Heaven Realm Great Leader, who had the black hole domain, also didn't seem to understand his comrade's actions. Why was he not welcomed when he helped during a crisis? Jiu Shao, this is my battle. Even if I am killed, the Heaven Realm Great Leader's pride will not allow me to accept this kind of help. This will only make me feel humiliated. If it was you, if you were beaten to the ground, would you beg for your life like a dog? Would you hope that I would help you? I don't want to find any excuses. Victory is victory, defeat is defeat. Even if my strength has not recovered, and my opponent burned his life 100 times stronger in order to win, could it be that this is an excuse for defeat? As a Heaven Realm Great Leader, since when did you need to find a laughable excuse for defeat? When the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident said this, the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Black Hole Domain immediately hid himself and returned to the Black Hole without saying anything. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident turned around while covered in blood. He closed one of his bleeding eyes and looked at Impatience with only one eye. You are a very strong opponent. Other than the Prison Emperor, this is the first time I have been beaten to such a sorry state by a human. You almost killed me. If it wasn't for the divine equipment in my hands, you would have made me hibernate for thousands of years today. With the divine equipment in my hands, you won't be able to kill me. I also don't want to kill you. On the contrary, I look forward to an opponent like you. You and that little boy still have a lot of potential to grow. You are still young, continue to train. I will wait for you in the Heaven Realm. Today's lesson, this defeat, I will remember it deeply in my heart. He summoned a holy grimoire and his body slowly disappeared. Goodbye, the two human warriors who have brought me incomparable surprises. I really hope that when I see you again in the Heaven Realm, you will give me even more surprises. Before he disappeared, he waved his divine trident. A ray of colorful light flashed brightly in the sky. Gradually, it formed a row of heaven runes in the sky. Yu Yang recognized these few words and guessed that it was the address of this fellow in the Heaven Realm. The Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Divine Trident returned to his own grimoire world and completely disappeared. Only his last words lingered in the broken third hall. Remember my name is Void. As the Heaven Realm Great Leader called Void returned to the grimoire world, Feng Xinshi, who was in his soul state, also followed after him under the guidance of the Divine Trident. At this time, in the third hall, only the Heaven Realm Great Leader with the Black Hole Domain, Jiu Shao, was left. Although he had always been quiet, his true strength was even higher than Void, who was holding the Divine Trident. 5 deep bloody holes appeared on Yu Yang's chest. Even someone as strong as Yu Yang, who had Nirvana's flame and obtained Nirvana rebirth, was unable to heal the wounds caused by his opponent. The black ball of energy that was like a black hole that could devour everything had already invaded Yu Yang's body. If it was another person, they would have become a corpse long ago, or maybe not even their bones would be left. However, Yu Yang, who had the Devour domain of energy, was using his body as a battlefield, fighting a tug-of-war with the black ball of energy. If it was a normal body, it would not be able to withstand this kind of battle. However, Yu Yang, who had innate chi protecting his body and Nirvana Rebirth's flame, was unbelievably able to persevere in this kind of battle. Furthermore, though Devour, a domain of energy in his body, was getting stronger and stronger, continuously devouring and assimilating the opponent's energy, transforming and strengthening the Devour, a domain of energy. The black ball of energy stimulated Yu Yang's life potential. At the same time, it also stimulated Yu Yang's Devour, a domain of energy. Though a Devour, a domain of energy that was originally not very strong, was strengthened by 10 times due to the invasion of the strange energy. Moreover, after the Devour domain of energy had assimilated the opponent's energy, it was also evolving. It continued to grow stronger and mutate. Of course, in terms of physical reaction, it was extremely painful. Yu Yang was in so much pain that his entire body was trembling. Impatience used one of her lily-white hands and her long tail to support Yu Yang, who had almost lost control and fell to the ground, while staring coldly at the Heaven Realm Great Leader called Jiu Shao. This Jiu Shao, who was hiding in the black hole domain of energy, had never left. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Impatience and Yu Yang. Void's will had nothing to do with him. Although Void, Impatience and Yu Yang had agreed to fight again in the Heaven Realm, the current Jiu Shao wanted to get rid of the two of them as soon as possible. I have always thought that humans are dangerous. No matter how weak a human is, as long as there is an opportunity, they will become very strong. Even if their lifespan is very short, they will grow very fast. For example, you, a young human boy, you are only 20 years old, but you already have the power to fight against me. If you are given another 100 years, I really don't dare to imagine how far you will grow." The Jiu Shao, who was hiding in the black hole domain of energy, slowly floated out. His appearance and image were still not shown, but his strong aura directly suppressed Yu Yang to the point that he could not breathe. Compared to Void, who was holding the godly halberd, he was 3 times stronger. Moreover, this Jiu Shao was calmer and had a kind of cold-blooded rationality. When Yu Yang in impatience gave him a sense of danger, he would not be like Void and give Yu Yang and impatience a chance to challenge him. He wanted to kill the 2 of them directly to prevent future troubles. Jiu Shao stretched out his hands and 2 black energy balls appeared on them. Impatience slowly raised one hand to the sky and prepared to summon sky punishment again. The calm Jiu Shao, who was almost cold-blooded, suddenly asked, "How many more times can you summon sky punishment after 100-fold life ignition? How much longer can you last? If I am not wrong, you can at most last for a minute. Such a short amount of time is not enough to summon sky punishment again. Moreover, do you think I will fight you? I can wait until you burn your life." Although she did not speak, the dim look in Impatience's eyes confirmed everything that Jiu Shao had said. She did not want to admit defeat, but 100-fold life ignition had already reached the limit of her limit. "There is only half a minute left. Say your last words." Jiu Shao did not immediately attack Impatience and Yu Yang. Instead, he stood in front of the black hole domain of energy, as though he could retreat at any time. He knew that he had just woken up from hibernation and his power was only 1/100th of his previous peak. He was not willing to fight the current Impatience head-on. Unlike Su Kong, the way he chose to fight was to wait. "I die without regrets." These were Impatience's last words. "Why don't you ask me what I want to say?" Yu Yang resisted the pain in his chest and asked in a hoarse voice. "Then, what do you want to say?" Jiu Shao was most wary of Impatience now. As for the heavily injured Yu Yang, he only needed to be a 10th vigilant. "I am not as good as you, but that does not mean you can be awesome. Qilin girl, I did not take a minute of your rent. Now that I am about to die, if you do not come out to help, don't blame me for kicking you out of the door." Yu Yang suddenly scolded angrily. "Don't be angry, I don't know you are fighting. I just slept not long ago and am still very sleepy." The Qilin girl, who was wearing a nightgown, sleepily patted her small sandalwood mouth and yawned. She had a sleepy and lazy appearance. She first stretched her waist and then cutely rubbed her eyes. She turned her head and saw that Yu Yang's mouth was bleeding and there was a bloody hole in his chest. She curiously came over and blinked her big eyes. "Are you injured?" "Nonsense." Yu Yang wanted to press this Qilin girl down and beat her little but it was fine that she did not help, but she was also curiously watching. "This injury is not difficult to treat, but I only have 2 hands. Between her and you, I can only save one. Which one should I save?" The Qilin girl stretched out her small white hand, indicating that she could only save one. "Save her." When Yu Yang heard this, he hurriedly let her save Impatience first. "I can save her, but I will not guarantee her life, because it is already a bit late to save her." Before the Qilin girl finished speaking, Yu Yang raised his hand and fiercely spanked her perky little butt. "Then, why are you still talking nonsense? Hurry up and save her. You dare to hit me?" The Qilin girl was furious and was about to fly into a rage. However, when she saw Yu Yang's expression, she was so scared that she stuck out her little pink tongue. She hurriedly carried Impatience, who was gradually losing control, and returned to the grimoire world. In the end, she even asked Yu Yang, "Who is that ugly and sinister fellow? Forget about his looks. He still dares to show his face in public. I really don't understand, does he not know his place? Hurry up and save her. You are not going on a blind date, why do you care about his looks?" Yu Yang was furious. "So there is an immortal beast protecting you. No wonder Ming Yu Guang and Void let you go. Immortal beasts are very strong, but do they not have any weaknesses? The Heaven Realm Great Leader called Jiu Shao suddenly turned invisible and returned to the black hole domain. A thought came out. If I had not just woken up from my hibernation, I would have killed the immortal beast as well. Young human, let me give you a present. A ray of black light, like a sword, shot out from the center of the black hole. In an instant, it disappeared. Just as Yu Yang was on full alert, Lei Shenshi, who looked like a thunder giant, suddenly appeared. He held the ray of black light in his hand and bowed respectfully towards the black hole. The black hole domain slowly disappeared. In the end, a cold thought came out. Chop off his 4 limbs and turn him into a human stick. Remember, do not harm his life. Otherwise, the guardian immortal beast will immediately retaliate. The weakness of immortal beasts is that they must abide by the rules. They cannot take the initiative to attack weak life forms, unless it endangers their master's life. Humans' battle power mainly depends on their 4 limbs. Once they lose their limbs, their battle power will greatly decrease. Furthermore, humans cannot regrow their limbs. Young human, I hope you will like this present. Chapter 355. Although the Qilin girl did not make a move, Jiu Shao, the arrogant Heaven Realm Great Leader, was definitely scared away by her. The battle at the prison Emperor Divine Palace had many unexpected events. For example, the powerful Heaven Realm warriors like Feng Shenshi, Lei Shenshi, Ming Rihao, Huang Sha, Sha Fei, and Ai Gua had broken free from their seals and even had physical bodies. This was something that the old dragon turtle's original information could never imagine. The sudden appearance of a strong enemy had completely overturned Yu Yang's plan. Even if he had urgently trained for a month and obtained Nirvana rebirth under the guidance of the Heavenly Sword Goddess, he was still unable to close the huge gap between him and the enemy. What was even more frightening was that because of Yu Yang's intrusion, the seals on the 3 great leaders of the Heaven Realm had changed one after another. All of them had successfully broken free, and each of them had the strength to instantly kill everyone on their side. Under this kind of suffocating situation, Yu Yang could not control the situation and could only adapt to the situation. Other than fighting with his wits, Yu Yang's only hope was for the Phoenix Sisters and the Qilin girl to help him. Yu Yang was not afraid of a bitter battle, but he was afraid that Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai and the others would be instantly killed. Forget about Shui Wuxia and the others who could not be revived, even his guardian beast Bloody Queen Red, and the others who could be revived, he did not want them to die because of him. The biggest threat to the enemies was Void and Jiu Shao, the 2 great leaders. Void was heavily injured by the Impatience's Sky Law and left gracefully. However, the cold and rational Jiu Shao was the enemy that Yu Yang was most worried about. Fortunately, the Qilin girl appeared and scared him away. Seeing that he retreated quickly because of the Qilin girl's appearance, Yu Yang heaved a sigh of relief. As for Lei Shenshi, who was still in his soul form, even if he regained his fighting strength and the treasure Black Light that Jiu Shao gave him, Yu Yang did not care. After all, compared to the 2 great leaders just now, Lei Shenshi, who had lost his real body and was only in his soul form, was not worth mentioning. Electric Cage, Lei Shenshi was originally in soul form, so his fighting power was not strong. He should have been unable to attack. However, with the black light in his hand, he was able to summon a huge electric cage. With the inner hall of the 3rd Palace Hall as the prison, he imprisoned Yu Yang within. Yu Yang's devoured territory was currently digesting Jiu Zhao's black energy ball. His body was also recovering with Nirvana flame, so he did not stop Lei Shenshi's actions. Perhaps he didn't have much confidence, so Lei Shenshi used the power of the Black Light treasure to summon 2 Heaven Realm monsters. Unlike the Heaven Realm centipede summoned by Feng Shenshi, these 2 beasts were humanoid beasts. One red, the other green. Every one of them was enormous, and their height alone was 50 meters. It looked extremely ugly, like a bloodthirsty ogre. Its bloody mouth was dripping with stinking sticky saliva. Its sharp teeth and red eyes were filled with a ruthless and bloodthirsty thirst for blood. The word Shah was branded on their foreheads. On their almost naked bodies, there was only a piece of beast skin draped over their lower bodies. They were holding huge mace that was 30 meters long. With a casual strike, they could break the third palace hall's pillar. Every step they took, their weight could shake the entire prison Emperor Divine Palace. Rumble when they walked towards Yu Yang, this tiny human, the entire third palace hall shook uncontrollably. What was even more terrifying was that these two humanoid beasts, one red and one green, released two great domains, bone maggots and death mist. The red bone maggot seemed to have a life of its own as it crazily sucked Yu Yang's strength, while the green death mist was like a plague that dyed the surface of Yu Yang's body green. Yu Yang looked at Lei Shenshi from the corner of his eyes. Lei Shenshi, who was holding the black light treasure, was looking for a good opportunity to attack. Looks like he wouldn't leave until he chopped off his 4 limbs. Suddenly, Yu Yang sighed slightly. Yes, I admit that with my current strength, I am still unable to fight against the 2 great leaders of Heaven Realm. Of all the battles I've ever fought, this was the most difficult and passive battle I've ever been in. However, I will firmly remember today's lesson. After I leave, I will once again cultivate from the most basic foundation and allow myself to grow into a true expert. In the future, when I face Su Kong and Jiu Shao, I will definitely not be like today. Do you really think you can leave? Lei Shenshi didn't open his mouth, and only sent out a thought. Jiu Shao himself wants to escape, this is the truth. Yu Yang suddenly smiled. His smile was as bright as the sun, causing Lei Shenshi to be puzzled. Immortal beasts will definitely not take the initiative to attack their enemies. Obviously, Lei Shenshi understood the restrictions of immortal beasts. Immortal beasts will only protect their masters when their lives are in danger. I have a sister. She has never participated in a battle. None of you know of her existence. Now, do you want to know where she is? Before Yu Yang could finish speaking, a small figure came out from the profound coffin room, holding the prison Emperor Divine staff high up. It was Yu Bing. The prison Emperor Divine staff that had the prison emperors will immediately burst out with light that was 10,000 times brighter when it came out of the third hall, illuminating the entire third hall as if it was daytime. The bright light caused the red and green demonic beasts to be unable to open their eyes as they roared in fear. They subconsciously avoided Yu Bing, who was holding the prison Emperor Divine staff with both hands, and retreated step by step. Only when Lei Shenshi shouted and comforted them did they feel a little better. Suddenly, a figure appeared outside the electric cage. He shouted at Yu Yang. These two are the Red Goblin King and the Green Goblin King. They have a very strong regenerative ability. Normal attacks are unable to kill them. We must dig out the goblin orb in their bodies. Normally, their goblin orb is on their head, but it could also be in their belly button. Before he could finish speaking, Lei Shenshi angrily roared, like thunder exploding in the sky. Ngu, you traitor! Although Birdman Ngu was afraid of Lei Shenshi, with Yu Yang in front of him, he felt a lot more at ease. He plucked up his courage and replied loudly, I'm not betraying you. You have never been my master, nor are you my suzerain. You are just our conquerors. We were forced to come down from the heaven realm because we were afraid of being conquered by force and forced to obey. We were forced to come down from the heaven realm and start a war with the humans. In the battle against the prison emperor, our brothers and sisters were severely injured. Even so, you are still unable to look us in the eye. You have never acknowledged us as your companions. You have never even acknowledged us as your subordinates. We are only slaves. When the 2 great leaders, Void and Jiu Shao, needed to speed up their recovery, the ones who sacrificed themselves for them were our brothers and sisters. Many of our brothers and sisters were sucked dry of their energy while they were still in deep sleep. Just like me, even if I woke up earlier, I wouldn't be able to escape this kind of death. In order to save the two great leaders in advance, you guys have been using our bodies and beasts as sacrifices for the past 6,000 years. Look at my body, what have I become? I've woken up and turned into a hybrid beast. I've even lost most of my memories. If I hadn't awakened my deep memories during the battle, I would have most likely continued to be the target of your jokes and sacrifices, just like my brothers and sisters. I am not afraid of death, nor am I afraid of battle, but I will definitely not become your sacrifice. I am also a proud Heaven Realm warrior. Even if you are stronger than me, you will not be able to erase my dignity. And Go currently only had the strength of an innate level 1. If Lei Shenshi did not become a soul after sacrificing himself, he would probably be able to kill him instantly. No matter what reason you have, your betrayal is a fact. The black light treasure in Lei Shenshi's hands shot out a ray of light towards Ngo like a sword. If you want to kill him, can you ask me first? Yu Yang stood in front of the sword ray. He stretched out his hand and caught the terrifying sword ray. The power of Yin and Yang rotated slowly. The sword ray shot out by the black light slowly twisted and finally swam between Yu Yang's fingers like a fish. When it came to controlling sword rays, other than the heavenly sword goddess and the big lowly formed from sword chi, no one was better than Yu Yang in controlling sword rays. When Lei Shenshi realized that the sword ray shot out by the black light was ineffective against Yu Yang, he immediately ordered the Red Goblin King and the Green Goblin King to attack. Just as the two goblin beasts rushed towards Yu Yang, a mirror suddenly appeared in front of Yu Yang. This was Inan's spirit mirror. The spirit mirror reflected the prison Emperor Divine Staff's radiance and shone on the two goblin beasts' faces. Immediately, the two goblin beasts closed their eyes in pain. They used their huge hands to block in front of them, as if they were extremely afraid of this radiance. The two domains on Yu Yang's body, the bone maggots and the death mist, quickly dissipated under the radiance of the spirit mirror. When Lei Shenshi slashed down with the black light in his hands, Yu Yang released the five-colored divine light. Counterattack. The green of the five-colored divine light collided with Lei Shenshi's black light. With one strike, Lei Shenshi and the black light were immediately sent flying 100 meters away. The black light dimmed. On Lei Shenshi's body, crackling sounds could be heard, as if he had suffered quite a bit of damage. This is the real five-colored divine light. Yours is just a counterfeit. No matter how generous Jiu Shao is, he would never give you the real five-colored divine light. The black light in your hands is just a counterfeit version of the five-colored divine light. Yu Yang appeared behind Lei Shenshi in a flash. His left fist held the five-colored divine light and punched out. At the same time, his right hand gathered the power of the star explosion and threw it out the moment Lei Shenshi parried. Quick! Lei Shenshi was shocked. He turned into lightning and disappeared, dodging the attack of star explosion. Die! Yu Yang did not chase after him. Instead, he guided the star explosion to make a turn and hit the Red Goblin King's head. Star explosion exploded. Half of the Red Goblin King's head exploded into pieces. It fell to the ground with a loud bang. However, the strange thing was that the Red Goblin King, whose head was shattered, did not die. Its shattered head quickly recovered. Countless pieces of flesh automatically turned into powder and returned to its original state. Its head turned into a pile of paste and gradually returned to its original state. In just a few seconds, more than half of its body had recovered. I'll send you to hell. Yu Yang, who was holding the world exterminating wheel, slashed down from the sky and cut the Red Goblin King in half. On the other side, the incomparably furious Green Goblin King did not even have time to react before Yu Yang turned around and used the world exterminating wheel to cut it in half from its belly button. The Red Goblin King and Green Goblin King's broken body started to grow new flesh, preparing to merge their bodies back into one. However, a little Lamia Loli with big eyes appeared. she held 2 blades in her hands. In an instant, she turned the 4 parts of the Red Goblin King and Green Goblin King's bodies into frozen meat. Of course, this was not her final goal. When Lei Shenshi rushed over to help, she had already stretched out her 2 small hands towards Yu Yang. On her hands there were 2 goblin pearls, 1 red and 1 green. The Red Goblin King and Green Goblin King, who had lost their goblin pearls, were no different from losing their human souls. Although they did not die, they were just 2 huge mountains of flesh, no longer a threat. Under the light of the prison Emperor Divine Staff, the bone maggots and death mist domain completely disappeared. Even if I can't kill you, I will kill your woman. Human, your biggest weakness is women. Lei Shenshi was completely furious. He knew that he could not defeat Yu Yang, because Yu Yang had the real 5-colored divine light in his hands. Yu Bing had the protection of the prison Emperor Divine Staff, so Lei Shenshi could not get close to her. Inan had the protection of the spirit mirror. The spirit mirror revolved around her body, and the light emitted by the prison Emperor Divine Staff caused the spirit mirror to refract in all directions. This was equivalent to having the protection of the prison Emperor Divine Staff, so Lei Shenshi could not touch her. As for little one Li, she was his guardian beast, so he could not really kill her. In the end, the furious Lei Shenshi decided to go to the second hall first and kill those human women who could not recover, forcing Yu Yang to go crazy. In the past, he had used this method to deal with the prison emperor and the soldiers who followed him. Once a human man saw a woman die, they would feel despair. They would even commit suicide after winning. Lei Shenshi, who came from the heaven realm, could not understand this kind of behavior. However, he knew the fatal weakness of human warriors. Do you want to kill us? There's no need to go to the second hall, we are already here. Shui Wuxia held the ancient book in her hands, while Princess Sisai, who was covered in blood, held the prison Emperor Divine Sword. Behind them, City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Yu Yu, who were pale and weak, followed. Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon were guarding them. The fact that they could come here meant that the 2 Heaven Realm centipedes had been killed. What shocked Lei Shenshi the most was not that the Howling Wind spell was ineffective, nor was it that his subordinates and the Heaven Realm centipedes were killed. It was not even the Heaven Centipede Pearl in the hands of Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon, but the ancient book in Shui Wuxia's hands. This ancient book was only a silver-ranked treasure. If it was in the past, Lei Shenshi would not even care about silver-ranked treasures. Even if it was a gold-ranked treasure, it would not be able to harm him who was an innate level 10. But now, he who was in his soul state felt that something was wrong. Although this ancient book was only a silver-ranked treasure, it was a type of spiritual equipment. The scariest thing was that it seemed to be a treasure that could swallow lightning energy, which was his nemesis. Shui Wuxia flipped the book to a page, and a female spirit that looked similar to her appeared. The female spirit's body was filled with cold air, but her hands were crackling with lightning. Facing Lei Shenshi, who was many times stronger than her, this female spirit fearlessly rushed forward, as if she wanted to swallow Lei Shenshi, who was 1,000 times stronger than her. No! A strong warrior's sense of danger exploded. Lei Shenshi hurriedly wanted to escape, but behind him, Yu Yang and Little One Li appeared at the same time. Their binding chains' inherent skill instantly locked onto him. Nirvana Flame, World Exterminating Wheel and Innate Invisible Sword Chi attacked Lei Shenshi's body at the same time. The one who dealt the fatal blow was Sickly Beauty. She took out the prison Emperor Divine Seal from the profound coffin room and accurately threw it at Lei Shenshi's head. Chapter 356. Lei Shenshi, who had an immortal body, was much stronger than Huang Sha, who had a body made of sand. If he had not sacrificed his body, with Yu Yang's current strength, it would be very difficult to kill him who was an innate level 10. Unless he destroyed his nucleus, he would not be able to kill him. After losing his body, Lei Shenshi was only left with his soul. He was unable to use his lightning power and was at his weakest. If Jiu Shao did not give him the black light to summon him, Yu Yang could even ignore Lei Shenshi's existence. When the Qilin girl saved Phoenix Fairy Beauty, Shui Wuxia, Princess Qian Qian and the others all rushed over. Yu Yang had completely let go of the boulder in his heart. He decided to surround and kill Lei Shenshi, this super strong enemy. He was not willing to let him recover his original body. While he was still in his weakest state, he would make sure that this fellow would stay in the prison Emperor Divine Palace forever. Roar, roar, roar! Lei Shenshi was in great pain. No matter if it was Nirvana Flame, World Exterminating Wheel or innate invisible sword Qi, all of them could severely injure his soul. The prison Emperor Divine Seal that contained the prison Emperor's will was sealed above his head, causing the shadow of death 6,000 years ago to flash in his heart. 6,000 years ago, there were still the 3 great leaders and close to 100 of their companions resisting the seal together. Today, he was the only one left to fight. Was he going to die? Let's die together. Lei Shenshi turned around and pounced towards Yu Yang. He was prepared to use the Heaven Realm's forbidden skill, soul, and body explosion to perish together with him. Although he did not have the support of his body, the power of the soul and body explosion would be greatly reduced, but it was definitely not a problem to destroy his enemy. Little Wenli glared at him angrily and activated her binding chain's inherent skill again. Instead of retreating, Yu Yang advanced. The Nirvana flame in his hand turned into a gigantic fire phoenix and bombarded Lei Shenshi's body. Following that, the world exterminating wheel broke through the Heaven Rune's origin defense in his soul. At the same time, Yu Yang's innate sword Qi struck the star nucleus in Lei Shenshi's soul with his strongest attack. Lei Shenshi's nucleus was shattered and his body shook. His soul energy scattered and was absorbed by Yu Yang's Devour domain. However, Lei Shenshi did not die. Knowing that he could no longer kill Yu Yang, he suddenly gave up on the idea of dying together with Yu Yang. He pounced on Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai. Yu Yang's hair stood up in anger as he chased after Lei Shenshi. He extended his hand into Lei Shenshi's soul and dug out the origin star nucleus. Lei Shenshi suddenly laughed out loud. It's too late, the weakness of humans is women. You can collapse, go crazy. He pounced on Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai, and the black light in his hand made a final attack. He still had a bit of time before the Nirvana flame burned the star nucleus. Kill! Princess Sisai shouted as the white tiger's image appeared in the sky. Using the white tiger's strength and the Emperor's sword Qi, she activated the prison Emperor Divine Sword and slashed Lei Shenshi's soul into 2. Lei Shenshi also performed the same action. He did not even defend himself. He only raised the black light and slashed down on Shui Wuxia's head. No matter how City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Yu, Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon attacked, he completely ignored them. He only wanted to kill Shui Wuxia. The black light slashed down, nothing could stop it. The old dragon turtle caught up, but it was sent flying by the summoning power of the other half of Lei Shenshi's body. He was unable to stop the heavy slash of the black light. No! Sickly Beauty had already summoned her crystal shield, but her speed was not fast enough. She could not reach Shui Wuxia's side in time. She screamed in sorrow. Sister Wuxia! Inan also flew over on her spirit mirror. She was even further away from them. Shui Wuxia felt that she had been locked on by the black light. She would only die faster if she tried to escape. She did not panic. She looked at Yu Yang, and in the depths of her eyes, there was even a trace of a smile. If this was forever, then she would leave him a smile. He liked her smile and often wanted her to smile, but she did not usually listen to him. She raised her right hand and prepared to receive the attack, hoping to exchange an arm for her life. Although she did not know if she would succeed, she wanted to try. Wasn't it just an arm? As long as this Lei Shenshi did not attack Yu and fallen flowers, so what if she gave him an arm? Her guardian beast, Storm Blizzard Lady, also did the same action. She raised her arm to receive the attack, while her other hand condensed the power of ice, waiting for an opportunity to counterattack. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was exhausted from the previous battle and could not help. She was so scared that she almost fainted. Yu, who was usually weak, rushed forward with tears streaming down her face. She was prepared to use her body to protect Shui Wuxia, but she did not think that doing so would only sacrifice her own life. Motherf Ker. Yu Yang used the fastest speed he had in his life and chased closely behind Lei Shenshi. He threw out the 5-colored divine light to block the black light. Ayaya! In the sky, Bloody Queen Red screamed and rushed down, hugging the black light with her whole body. She knew that she was a guardian beast and would not really die, so she prepared to use her body to block the attack. On the other side, Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen flew over. She had stopped at the second hall to clean up the battlefield, so she was late. She did not expect to see Lei Shenshi's crazy action. Lei Shenshi was not only an innate level 10, he was also famous for his speed. Even if he sacrificed his body, no one could save him. The black light flashed. It chopped off an arm, and at the same time, the body behind the arm was also split into two. Fresh blood splattered in the air. The star nucleus that he had been holding tightly in his hand, under the purification of the Nirvana flame, completely turned into a lightning-type soul pearl. Lei Shenshi's soul immediately lost consciousness. His eyes froze as his life and soul were purified by the Nirvana flame and disappeared. The black light that was about to slash a second time fell from his hand and stabbed into the ground. Yu and the others were scared out of their wits. They rushed over and hugged Shui Wuxia, who was covered in blood, and cried, "No, no, Wuxia, don't scare me. I'm fine, Aman helped me block the attack." Shui Wuxia also thought that she was finished. She did not expect that the tall and sturdy Aman would suddenly stand up and jump in front of her, blocking the fatal attack. Barbarian Cow Shadow Aman's right arm was chopped off. The black light had split half of her body in half, almost splitting her into two. She, who was close to a human's body, spurted out blood like a waterfall. When Yu Yang rushed over, she did not say anything. There was no pain in her eyes, only joy. This was because she saw that her master's eyes were filled with concern and pain. Lei Shenshi's soul disappeared, but the energy of his soul was dragged back into the ancient book by the spirit woman who floated out from the ancient book, slowly digesting it. No one cared about its actions. Everyone hugged the barbarian Cow Shadow. Yu Yang hugged her, trying his best to use the Nirvana flame to heal Aman's serious injuries. Yu was so scared that her hands trembled. She almost did not know how to summon a healing water ball. Subconsciously, everyone treated Aman as a human and not a guardian beast. Aman stretched out her remaining left hand and caressed Yu Yang's face. She shook her head, as if she wanted to smile to show that she was fine. However, before she could smile, she had already turned into a ray of light. Her body gradually decomposed into energy and returned to the grimoire world. I will remember today's lesson. I will definitely become the strongest warrior in the world. I swear that in the future, no matter if I face a human warrior or a heaven realm warrior, this kind of thing will never happen again. Never. Yu Yang clenched his fist. At this moment, he was furious. He hated himself for not being strong enough. If he had the ability to kill Lei Shenshi in a second, if he had the ability to fight against the two great leaders, would this kind of danger still happen? All along, Yu Yang felt that he was a strong warrior. Even if he was not the strongest, Yu Yang felt that he could deal with any difficulties. However, the battle at the prison Emperor Divine Palace had taught him a truth. Never be limited by the power in front of you. A real warrior was unimaginably strong. The situation would never go according to plan. This world was full of unknowns. In the face of absolute power, intelligence and skills were all pale and powerless. If he wanted to use intelligence and skills to obtain victory, he must be strong enough. In other words, as long as you were strong enough, then you would have the right to toy with others. The three great leaders of Heaven Realm gave Yu Yang an extremely high goal to challenge. Even if they slept for 1,006 years, in their weakened state, the three great leaders still had the power to kill Yu Yang in a second. This kind of power was the direction that Yu Yang would work towards in the future. Being stronger than human warriors was not enough. What Yu Yang wanted was to be stronger than the three great leaders of Heaven Realm. He wanted to be stronger than the prison emperor who could seal the three great leaders of Heaven Realm. When Yu Bing, Yu Yu, Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers hugged Yu Yang tightly, everyone's grimoire automatically appeared. The pages flipped and gathered into an unprecedentedly huge golden pillar of light that shot straight to the sky. All of the beasts were bathed in this golden energy pillar, and at the same time, they evolved along with their masters. Within the pillar of light, Yu Yang and Shui Wuxia's evolution was the most shocking. After Shui Wuxia's ancient book spirit swallowed Lei Shinshi's soul energy, it underwent a qualitative change in the pillar of light and leveled up to a gold-ranked treasure. The summoning grimoire leveled up from a middle-ranked gold grimoire to a beginner-ranked platinum grimoire. Shui Wuxia, who had been suppressed as a lesser innate for a long time, could no longer endure the energy of breaking through. She screamed and floated in the sky. The golden pillar of light of leveling up to an innate connected heaven and earth. It was more than 100 meters tall, almost 200 meters tall. It was even more powerful than Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers when they leveled up. It was just that everyone was leveling up, so no one had the time to see Shui Wuxia leveling up. The Blizzard Lady, who was a guardian beast, was reborn and merged with the ancient book spirit. Ice, lightning, and spiritual sense had completely fused together. A huge figure that was more than 30 meters tall appeared in the center of the golden pillar of light. She had unbelievably turned into a diamond-ranked beast. Even if she was only diamond-ranked level 1 now, it was enough to prove that her future growth potential was incomparable to before. Because of her appearance, snowflakes started to fall from the sky. One by one, they danced in the sky. It was only until she gradually merged with Shui Wuxia's body like little Wen Li into Yu Yang's body that the snowflakes in the sky gradually stopped. Ah man! Yu Yang did not notice this. His mind was still worried about Ah Man. When he connected his mind with the sleeping Ah Man, he was pleasantly surprised to find that she was not really dead. She was only sleeping due to heavy injuries, unlike other guardian beasts who would lose some of their memories once they died. She was still the original Ah Man. Still his own Ah Man. Little Wen Li Bloody Queen Red, Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen Duo, Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga and Ice Serpent Demon were all surrounding Yu Yang, bathing in the Nirvana's flame when Yu Yang leveled up. At the same time, they were also leveling up, evolving and fading away. Even the spirit of flame and smoke, who was killing the sand drilling worms in the second hall, also exploded into flames, enjoying the pleasure of leveling up. Different from Yu Yang and Shui Wuxia, who leveled up together, the old dragon turtle knelt down in tears in front of the prison emperor divine staff that contained the prison emperor's will, crying non-stop. Other than him, the prison emperor was only left with a forgotten piece of history. 6,000 years had passed, the sealed Heaven Realm rankers had either died or escaped. Who would remember the human king who shocked the Heaven Realm that year? Who would remember the prison emperor who used his life to seal the three great leaders of Heaven Realm? The only thing that comforted the old dragon turtle was that the human race had produced another genius boy. He was still very young now. He could not compare to the prison emperor that year. However, with this brat's talent and potential, with a bit of effort, he would definitely become a new generation ranker in the future. He might even become stronger than the prison emperor. He was still young. With such a rare challenge and experience today, his future would be limitless. The new generation prison emperor, he would be the best successor. Chapter 357. After the battle in the prison emperor divine palace, the old dragon turtle happily hugged the prison emperor divine staff and ran out to use a secret technique to recover his strength. He was helpless against Yu Yang's action of snatching the prison emperor divine seal. Although Yu Yang couldn't use the prison emperor divine seal now, Yu Yang, who didn't want to be at a disadvantage, would rather use it to smash walnuts to get his hands on it. He painstakingly cleared all the monsters in the prison emperor divine palace and even chased away the 3 big bosses. If he didn't get some treasures, Yu Yang wouldn't be able to feel at ease. Thus, the prison emperor divine staff belonged to the old dragon turtle, the prison emperor divine seal belonged to Yu Yang, and the prison emperor divine sword belonged to Princess Sisai. Only she could use it. Yu Yang said that he put in the most effort, so he should get double the share. Thus, he snatched the prison emperor's 7 star pillars. The old dragon turtle naturally objected, but his objection was ineffective. Yu Yang, Shui Wuxia and the others didn't leave immediately. Instead, they stayed in the prison emperor divine palace and rested in the grimoire world for 3 days until they had completely recovered from the exhaustion of the battle. They then spent a few more days to sort out the various spoils of war in the prison emperor divine palace. They cut the heaven realm centipede's poisonous jaws and carapace into small pieces and kept them well. They also stored the earth-drilling demon insect's orb, the heaven realm warrior's wings, weapons and armors into the grimoire world and turned them into alchemy materials. After cleaning up until there was nothing left, Yu Yang left the prison emperor divine palace under the guidance of the old dragon turtle's secret teleportation technique. Among all the heaven realm warriors that were sealed, only the monster guy Ngu was left. This guy was almost eaten by the golden-crowned thorny flower queen. Luckily Yu Yang had promised to spare his life. Ngu carried his companion's belongings and walked out of the prison emperor divine palace step by step. He passed through the teleportation gate and left. Before he left, he looked back and took a deep look. Perhaps the indescribable sense of melancholy in his heart made him seem not as happy as he thought he would be. Instead, he seemed a little depressed. Yu Yang hadn't paid much attention to him, but he had heard from Ngu that this guy had 50 companions, and now he was the only one left. He had only found a dozen of his companions' belongings, and most of them were lost. It was inevitable that he would be disappointed. Regaining his freedom was a good thing, but now he was alone. 6,000 years had passed, and he had lost his original body and became a monstrous birdman. Could he still return to his race in the heaven realm? With his current innate level 1 strength, would he be able to return to the heaven realm safely? Even Yu Yang, who had never been to the heaven realm, was not optimistic about him, let alone himself. I will stay in Tong Tian Tower for a period of time to adapt to the environment first. The monstrous man Ngu actually wanted to say that he was willing to follow Yu Yang into the heaven realm, but seeing that Yu Yang didn't have such a thought, he decided not to mention it. He believed that when Yu Yang enters the heaven realm in the future, he would definitely need a guide. He was undoubtedly the best candidate, so he wasn't in a hurry. He would temporarily wait for him in the lower floors of Tong Tian Tower, and increase his strength first. After parting ways with the monstrous man Ngu, Yu Yang, Shui Wuxia and the others returned to the little flower garden. The battle in the prison Emperor Divine Palace had a huge impact on Yu Yang, Shui Wuxia and the others. A strong Heaven Realm Great Leader, an undying Heaven Realm Ranker, a Heaven Realm Demonic Beast with a strong body. After this battle, everyone's state of mind had a sudden change. Compared to their previous understanding of the human world, thinking about it, They really felt like they were looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. Heaven Realm was indeed a super abnormal place. Wanting to enter the Heaven Realm with everyone's current strength was simply a joke. Heaven Realm was definitely not a place where innate level 1 could easily survive. After this experience, Yu Yang, Shui Wuxia, and the others already had a foundation in their hearts. They decided not to think about the Heaven Realm gate that opens once every 100 years anymore. The important thing was not to rush to the Heaven Realm. Instead, it was to train to a higher realm and become stronger. Just as Yu Yang and the others were preparing to train, Drunken Cat and Nyonyo, whom they hadn't seen for a long time, suddenly came. Drunken Cat brought a shocking news to Yu Yang. Ji Zun, Night Empress, Elder Nan Gong and the others had already returned from the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Ji Zun was very angry about the attack on the Soaring Dragon continent. However, for some reason, the Innate Alliance still hadn't questioned the Thousand Goblins sect, Western Lion Pagoda and Zijin Kingdom. Of course, including the Great Emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian and the Thousand Goblins sect leader, the other super rankers had already gone into hiding. No one dared to face the angry Ji Zun. Ji Zun is back? Yu Yang and Shui Wuxia looked at each other. If Ji Zun was back, did that mean that they had failed to enter the Heaven Realm? She seems to be looking for you. Elder Nan Gong had also talked to the vice principal, but I'm not sure what they were talking about. Drunken Cat was a little curious about Yu Yang's abilities. It was fine if this brat improved by himself, but how did he bring Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers to the innate realm? Could it be that dual cultivation was really that powerful? Then let's go back to the Yu Clan castle to take a look. Yu Yang also felt that he had stayed in the prison Emperor Divine Palace for too long and had completely lost contact with the outside world. When they returned to the Yu Clan castle, Elder Yu Hai was overjoyed. Jun Wuyu, Eastern Sky King and the others also rushed over after hearing the news. As fathers, it would be a lie if they weren't worried about their daughters. Now that they saw that their daughters and future son-in-law were safe and sound and had improved greatly, they secretly sighed in admiration. As expected, they had to let the youngsters train, otherwise how could their daughters improve so much? 3 innate. After Yu Yang, the abnormal brat, Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers had all reached the innate realm. If it was before, this kind of thing could only be said to be a fool's dream. After a round of celebration, Night Empress suddenly appeared and brought Yu Yang away. She and Ji Zun didn't appear, but they took turns to ask Yu Yang about everything that happened in the prison Emperor Divine Palace, especially the situation of the Heaven Realm great leaders. How is she? Ji Zun asked in the end. She asked without any rhyme or reason, but Yu Yang knew that she was asking about his sister, Impatience. Not good, not bad either. She is still in hibernation. Actually, Yu Yang had never seen Impatience before. He only heard Qilin Girl's reply. To be able to maintain this kind of hibernation recovery after burning her life 100 times to fight against the Heaven Realm great leaders, Yu Yang was already very satisfied. One must know that if Qilin Girl came out a little later, Impatience would have died because of the burning of her life. Don't think about the Heaven Realm great leaders for now. Thinking too much is useless and will only make you stubborn. What you need to do is to build a good foundation. Ji Zun said a few words and disappeared. Little fellow, don't you want to ask us about the exploration of Tong Tian Tower's 10th floor? When Night Empress was alone, she especially liked to tease Yu Yang. What was the result of the exploration? Yu Yang guessed that it was definitely not a good result. Heaven Realm is extremely big, there are 4 gates. We are at the bottom of the 4th gate, which should be the West Heaven Realm. The legendary Heaven Realm gate opens once every 100 years is not wrong. However, in front of the Heaven Realm gate, there is an extremely long sealed passage. There is a terrifying seal inside, we can only enter but not exit, so we gave up on exploring further. We thought that it was most likely a scam, a trap, and there must be other ways to enter Heaven Realm. Otherwise, in ancient times, there wouldn't be so many human warriors entering Heaven Realm, and it wouldn't be so easy. Night Empress didn't hide anything from Yu Yang. She also told him about the exploration process, but it was a little simpler. You mean to give up on entering and continue to look for a new path? Yu Yang frowned slightly. Could it be that this seal was related to the prison emperor? Yeah, let's wait for you guys to grow up first. Otherwise, if we can't return, you guys will be in danger. What Night Empress said was the truth. Before they could confirm whether Ji Zun, Night Empress, Elder Nan Gong and the others had entered Heaven Realm and couldn't return, the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian and the Thousand Goblins sect leader had already launched an attack. If they really couldn't return, it would be strange if they didn't try their best to kill Yu Yang. Then we still have to wait for a long time. Yu Yang felt that even with a body fusion, it was still too early for him and Xue Wuxia to enter Heaven Realm. It's alright, we will teach you guys personally. Night Empress giggled, just like a girl next door. Her laughter was like a bell, right beside Yu Yang's ears. Unfortunately, Yu Yang couldn't sense where she was. Compared to the Heaven Realm great leaders, Night Empress was naturally not as strong as them. Even if the Heaven Realm great leaders were weakened, it would still be difficult for them to win. This was because Night Empress was only slightly stronger than Impatience. Only Impatience with 100 times life combustion had the ability to severely injure the Heaven Realm great leaders. If Night Empress didn't use life combustion, it would already be considered good if she could fight to a draw. Of course, Ji Zun, who was much stronger than them, Yu Yang reckoned that even Jiu Shao, who was the strongest among them, would have a chance of winning. If the Heaven Realm great leaders who hadn't recovered their peak strength met Ji Zun, it would be a tragedy. In Yu Yang's eyes, Ji Zun was simply a female version of the prison emperor. Maybe Ji Zun was not as strong as the prison emperor at his peak, but in the future, Ji Zun would definitely have the same achievements as the prison emperor. Yu Yang definitely believed this. In the soaring dragon continent, there were only two people that made Yu Yang feel mysterious. One was Ji Zun, and the other was the pitiful guy's mother. After talking with Night Empress for a while, Yu Yang thought that she was joking. He didn't expect that the next day, she really brought City Mistress Fallen Flowers away. At the same time, Princess Sisai's mysterious teacher also came. Yu Yang didn't know this old lady, but seeing that she was hiding the power of an innate level 8, he couldn't help but be shocked. It turned out that there was such a powerful person protecting the Jun family's royal bloodline. Inan's aunt brought Inan away. Grandma Wu Ting, who had recovered from her internal injuries after obtaining the martial arts pill, came to take Yu Bing away. Yu Yu's teacher also came. She laughed and led Yu Yu away. She laughed and said that she couldn't guide her disciple in martial arts anymore, but she could find suitable people to share her life experience and knowledge with her disciple. Yu Yu naturally hoped to stay with her teacher for a period of time, because her teacher had a kind of motherly love that she lacked the most. Xue Wuxiao was the most favored, so Ji Zun came and decided to personally guide her. For the Xue family, this was a dream opportunity. Everyone in the Xue family would never dream that Xue Wuxiao would be favored by Ji Zun. Not to mention them, even Yu Yang didn't expect it. In the end, everyone was taken away to cultivate, leaving only Sickly Beauty. Don't worry, no matter what, I will always be with you, I will always be here. Sickly Beauty showed a gentle smile and gently hugged Yu Yang, deeply afraid that he would feel sad. Everyone's departure was actually just a temporary separation. Everyone's cultivation, with the experience and guidance of various seniors, will progress faster and become stronger. After a period of time, when they meet again, they will become qualified partners of Yu Yang, unlike the past. You can't always stay at home, you must go out and see the outside world. Before Ji Zun left, she gave Yu Yang a suggestion. Then you should listen to Master Jizun. You haven't been to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, right? Why don't you go up there? Maybe your state of mind will improve. What you need is not to train hard to break through, but to continue to enrich your basic knowledge. Sickly Beauty felt that Jizun was right. If she didn't go out and only trained hard in secret, her vision would not be wide enough. Moreover, there was no conflict between this point. During the day, Yu Yang would train everywhere and come back at night. She could accompany him, so that he would not be lonely. Anyway, she was not afraid of boredom. She could stay in the grimoire world to study runes. Whenever he missed her, he could come back anytime. 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower? Yu Yang had only been to the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower. The 6th floor was the legendary place where the real strong warriors gathered. He had never been to it. The legendary 6th floor was the gathering point of all races, and also where the innate alliance was located. Then what was the real situation? Chapter 358. Yu Yang, who was able to withstand the constant change between hundredfold and zero gravity in Void's domain of power, felt almost nothing towards the sixfold gravity in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. In fact, a few months ago, when Yu Yang fought with Green Summit Sect's vice-sect leader Machi Su Ling, he had already withstood the pressure of 20 times gravity and was completely fine. Ever since the battle at the prison Emperor Divine Palace, Yu Yang had made great progress in terms of strength and realm. If it was someone else, they would definitely need a long time to adapt to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. But to Yu Yang it was a piece of cake. Tong Tian Tower 6th floor, in front of the teleportation circle. Many of the warriors who had just been teleported over were quietly adapting to the pressure of 6 times the normal gravity. A small number of veterans who had already adapted to the gravity, or those who had come down from the 7th floor, had arrogant expressions on their faces as they strode away. Some of the newbies who had just arrived at the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, like Yu Yang, were filled with envy. Many people sized up this sealed transmission array. It was different from the lower levels. From the 6th level onwards, the transmission arrays were all sealed. Everyone had to leave through the same passageway. Not only that, but this passageway also prohibited flying. Only those who had reached innate level 6 and above could break through the restriction. Otherwise, even if it was a giant dragon or a demon from the demon abyss, they had to walk out step by step. This was not the first time that Yu Yang had seen demons that were a few meters tall walking past him. They did not even care about the existence of human warriors. Here, racial hatred was not the most important thing. What people respected was strength. A powerful warrior, no matter what race, would not be looked down upon. On the contrary, if one's strength was not enough, even the noble golden elves would not be able to compare to a lowly gnome. The level of strength one had would determine the level of status one would obtain. This was the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. What's your name? At the entrance of the teleportation circle in Tong Tian Tower 6th floor, the rookies who had just arrived were all queuing up to register. In the 1st, 2nd and 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower, they might be people who could call the wind and summon the rain. But here they were all rookies. If they did not behave well, they might be strangled to death by some angry veteran. Titan Yu Yang also queued up with them. If he was willing, he could tell Elder Nangong and the Innate Alliance. Then things would be much easier. Innate rankers had special privileges, they did not need to queue up, and there would even be people to receive them. Yu Yang, who wanted to experience life, naturally wouldn't do that. What level of strength? The man in charge of registration asked casually. Level 6 intermediate, elder. Yu Yang was right. According to the rank on the grimoire, he was indeed a level 6 elder. He had only leveled up after defeating the prison Emperor Divine Palace. If it was before, when he was only a level 5 Grandmaster, he probably wouldn't even have the qualifications to enter the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Where's the introducer? A man with 4 long fleshy beards on his face asked in the common tongue. Shui Donglu. Yu Yang did not dare to say out Jizun's name. Otherwise, this indifferent registrar would definitely have a heart attack. He said out the old cunning fox's name. Anyways, in order to protect the ranker's privacy and unique abilities, the registrar would not check the ranker's grimoire. He would also not verify the ranker's abilities in front of everyone. This was to prevent the ranker's abilities from being leaked. The registrar would usually ask questions in an open manner. The person who was registered could even choose to refuse to answer certain questions. According to the registration of normal rankers, this was already enough. This was because they did not need to hide their levels and abilities. Innate rankers also had special access. Those who were protected were all rankers with special abilities. They might not be very strong, but they had some special skills. Once these people were found out by people with ulterior motives, they would be in danger. Of course, no one would have thought that there would be someone as powerful as Yu Yang, who would mix in with the newbies to register. No one would suspect that he was an innate ranker. Normally, when people saw Yu Yang who had the counterfeit inherent skill, they would only suspect if he really had the strength of a level 6 elder. Do you have any special skills? The question that the man from a different race asked was not to pry into the ranker's secrets, but to arrange the ranker's tasks. The rankers could choose to refuse to answer this question. My special skill is making mechanical puppets. Yu Yang pretended to be an honest child and answered them one by one. Mechanical puppets? The man from a different race seemed to recall for a while and nodded his head. Just now you said that you came from the Soaring Dragon continent. I remember that there is a Yu clan that makes machines. You must be a disciple of the Yu clan. What is your strongest beast? Silver-ranked Wind Eagle Warrior. Yu Yang brought out the Transformers series from the ghost genius Yu Gong's Puppet Palace. Do you know any combat skills? The man from a different race asked. I think a few decades ago there was a Yu Qiu in the Soaring Dragon continent. He was an expert in combat skills. Was he from your Yu clan? He had already died in battle. His combat skills were not passed down. When Yu Yang said this, the man from a different race showed a pitiful expression. It seemed that he was not interested in Yu Yang, who was an expert in making mechanical puppets. Instead, he admired Yu Qiu, who was an expert in combat skills. Young man, do you need my advice? The man from a different race asked in the end. Please say. Yu Yang was curious. This guy didn't even give any advice to the person who registered in front of him. According to your level, strength and ability, it would be very difficult for you to survive in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. In the lower floors of Tong Tian Tower, your war doll might be able to rampage around and sweep everything in its path. But you have to know that this is the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. There are 100 times more monsters than you can imagine, and 100 times stronger than you can imagine. Summon beasts that can't level up, mechanical puppets or beasts with low potential are just like trash, they are completely useless. Please don't blame me for speaking bluntly, mechanical puppets are useless. If you want to survive longer in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, you must be strong. Not only must you be an expert in combat skills, you must also have a high-level beast with high potential. If you came here just to experience life in the higher floors of Tong Tian Tower, to see a different world, and not to train for a long time, then it doesn't matter. Young man, if you want to grow and improve yourself here, what you have now is far from enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? The man from a different race did not speak loudly, but warned Yu Yang very seriously. Human brat, go home and drink your mother's milk. This is not a place for a weak gigolo like you. Behind him, a sharp voice ridiculed. Yu Yang turned his head and saw that the person who ridiculed him was actually a dwarf. He was speechless. If you insist on entering the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, then I suggest that you don't go to these places. It's best if you stay in a safe area. The man from a different race took out a map and drew dozens of circles on it, indicating that those places were the places where Yu Yang, the level 6 elder, would die. Thank you. Although he was looked down upon, Yu Yang was still very grateful to this man from a different race who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. This was actually a kind of protection for the younger generation. Normally, young people would find it hard to accept rejection. However, if it was advice, although it was unpleasant to the ear, the effect would be much better. If Yu Yang did not hide his strength and was really like what he said, then entering the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower would really be a dangerous thing. The man from a different race did not reject him, nor did he stop him from entering. Instead, he gave him advice and even carefully marked out the dangerous areas on the map. Forget about a different race, even a human might not be able to do this. Therefore, Yu Yang said thank you from the bottom of his heart. Although it wasn't gratitude, it was to praise the man from a different race for his work attitude. The dwarf who was queuing behind him saw Yu Yang's figure and continued to ridicule him. The entire queue roared with laughter. Only a humanoid goblin race frowned as he looked at Yu Yang's back. He felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't see what the problem was. Was this human man really like what the dwarf had said? Was he just a weak gigolo? No, if he had to choose his enemies, he would rather choose the 2 dwarfs than this human man. His sharp goblin chi made him feel that something was wrong, but he couldn't really see any flaws. Would a real weakling be so calm and indifferent when they were being ridiculed? Even if it was him, he wouldn't be able to ignore it like that, right? He wasn't simple. This human man must have hidden his strength. He must have some special abilities that he didn't say out of secrecy. The goblin race man made an evaluation in his heart. He felt that Yu Yang was a strong opponent, but he never thought that this young human man would be an innate ranker, and had the terrifying strength to kill a level 8 innate ranker. Looking for a meat shield in Scarlet District 1, training, 1 wisdom fruit for 10 days, 2 wisdom fruits for a month. Equipment for sale, 90% new dragon skin armor and lightsaber, exchange for black sand, by Lustrous Branch at a high price, also by Death equipment set after 10,000 years. Good news for newbies, Tong Tian Tower Survival Guide, 1,000 gold each, also a beast map. Super Strong Healing Potion, 1 set for 100 gold, only limited to 9 sets, Quick Hands Get, also selling topaz. As soon as Yu Yang walked out of the teleportation circle, he took out a water bag and was about to moisten his throat, but he suddenly heard the shouts of the people in the plaza outside. He spat out the water and choked. That was really shocking. This was simply a different world's version of online games. The only thing missing was cheating and leveling. In the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, the soaring dragon continent couldn't be considered a continent, it could only be considered a small place. On the map, it was smaller than a baby's palm. If it wasn't for Ji Zun, who was very powerful and ranked first among all the other races might not even know about a small place like the soaring dragon continent. Going up to the 8th and 9th floor, the soaring dragon continent was like a sesame seed or a mung bean, it was almost invisible on the map. Forget about the soaring dragon continent, even the demon abyss, which was more than 10 times bigger than the soaring dragon continent, was only the size of a finger on the map of the 8th and 9th floor. Level 6 Elders, which were rare in the soaring dragon continent, could be seen all over the plaza, and every one of them could only be strong. Level 5 Grandmaster? That was a follower. As for Level 4 Heroes, they weren't even qualified to be a follower. After looking for a long time, Yu Yang barely found a dozen heroes, and tens of Level 5 Grandmasters among the hundreds of Level 6 Elders. Without exception, they were all followers who depended on the existence of the strong. You, that ugly human, come here. Suddenly, a tender voice shouted towards Yu Yang. Ugly? This was the first time Yu Yang heard someone say that he was ugly. What are you shivering for? If it wasn't for the fact that we are still lacking one person, why would we find you to fill in the numbers? We are in a hurry, don't just stand there in a daze, let's go. Another coarse voice boomed from behind. When Yu Yang turned around, he immediately jumped in fright. His heart was so scared that it almost flew out. Oh my God! You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.